Hey, gearheads. This is Tom Myers, world famous comedian and entertainer. Welcome to the Blind Mike Project. Make sure you go to blindmike.net for all Blind Mike Project. Why are you laughing? And who are these socials information? And now your host, a man who will drive 6 hours to see my terrible comedy, Blind Mike. Geary.
A little trouble with his emphasis there.
Blind Mike Geary.
I'm amazed someone messaged me. I guess if you don't listen to the show, I believe me, I understand it's weird, but I would imagine there's some context even if I didn't listen. But someone messaged me the other day and was like, "How did you find Rogan saying Blind Mike Project?" I was like, it's a whole thing.
It's a long story.
Hello, everybody. Yes, we are live, baby. Feel free to super chat us because that's very popular in podcasting these days. I understand some people even spend hours doing it. And we will get to, obviously, the return of Stuttering John. We have some other topics to get to, and then we will get to your questions. So Patreon gets first crack at the questions, and super chats as well can cut the line as far as the freeloaders are concerned. So fire away, folks, and we'll make sure to get to those throughout the program. But first, we do have a lot of stuff that I want to discuss. I was on the Shuley show, or the BS show this morning, Bob and Shuley. And it's funny. I don't have any problem with Shuley. I'm not like, and I'm not saying this in a shitty way. I'm not like a fan of his. Like, I don't follow a ton of his stuff unless it's a storyline like this that I'm interested in. But I tweeted something about him, and he reached out to me, and I was on the show. And it's funny because you can't even be like somewhat polite to Shuley on the internet without people really turning on you. He's hated. I don't get it. He seems like a nice enough guy. But people were messaging me when I got done with that show, and were like, man, I really thought you were cool until this appearance. Until I saw you fraternizing with Shuley. I'm like, what's the issue with this man? I don't understand it.
Yeah, people either love or hate him. Same with Karl, I'm finding too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I could see. I feel like certain segments of Craig's side of the aisle probably hate Karl based on information I found out yesterday. I had no idea the, shall we say, secret lifestyle that Karl was hiding from me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
who knew? But we'll get into all of that. I'm really interested in this Stuttering John stuff, and I think we're going to break it all down from the beginning for anyone that hasn't been following it. But first, let me just remind you guys, like I said, Patreon people can feel free to ask us questions today. Easiest way to find the Patreon is blindmike.net. That's where you find all the links to the shows, whether it be this program, the Blind Mike Project, Who Are These Socials that I do with Karl, or Why You Laughing, a history comedy podcast. We just did the Pat Cooper episode, obviously. And on Patreon now is the Anthony Cumia, the firing of Anthony Cumia episode. That'll be out after the 4th. And then a bonus episode that we put up is tied to that. It's Anthony Cumia versus Joe DeRosa, which I thought was an interesting saga that played out during that time. So if that kind of stuff interests you, history of comedy type stuff, then make sure you check out the Patreon. And we have new merch up. So hit the merch tab. Is that all up and running now?
I have it unlisted. I was waiting for that to hit public. So.
Oh, well, fire away. It will be up if it's not now at some point. But yeah, if you guys want to check out our merch as well, it'll get to you in about 6 to 8 years, I think, is the shipping policy over at Teespring. So as long as you don't mind waiting, and then support the show for free. Subscribe if you're watching right now. There are people that view this regularly that aren't subscribed. Make sure you do, because it helps the show, and you always get updates when we go live. Surprises like this. We're early in the week this week because we are off to Havre de Grace tomorrow. Very exciting.
I'm so jealous.
I'm doing WATS tonight, and I have a couple Tom Myers promos that I think we'll be playing. It seems like tickets haven't been flying off the shelf. Now, the back row is sold out for whatever reason. It's weird. I can't figure out why that was, but the other seats, it's taken a while to fill in the gaps in some of those aisles. So we're reporting live from Havre de Grace and on our way down there tomorrow. So support the show. We appreciate it.
All the merch is now live, including Platinum Club jackets and Blind Mike Project hats. Finally,
we finally got hats, which I actually might wear. They look like they're. I'm curious to get one in the mail finally. So yeah, we finally have hats and shirts and stuff up there as well. And yeah, we have Quincy related Platinum Club jackets. So if you want to join the Platinum Club, I feel like that could just be a Blind Mike Project staple as well. If you know, you know. That's the policy of the Platinum Club.
If you don't know, don't fucking buy it.
Right. Yeah. We don't want you in the Platinum Club. Put it this way. If you're a fan of Brendan Schaub's comedy, buy a Platinum Club jacket because you're someone that gets it. You know what I mean?
You understand completely.
You get what we're doing here.
Michael Redden, Super Chat. Busy 24 hours for Hack Ride and Blind Mike. Hi, Craig.
Yes. Yeah, they love Hack Ride over there. It's a little disturbing.
Yeah, everyone does.
Hack Ride's, well, not everyone.
Not everyone.
Hack Ride's been pressuring me to go. Like, Shuli invited me on. That's why I went on. But he's like, man, you got to be hammering this guy. Get on that show. I'm like, if he wants me on, he'll have me on. I gotta beg him.
Box Eating Dad, Super Chat. Who's the broad on the left with the red hair?
Broad on the left.
I'm guessing that's me. I'm guessing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My hair's blonde. I'm not even wearing a hat today.
Hey, what are you, gay, Craig? What are you, a gay lady?
I guess so.
That's a fun insult. Huh? Am I right, Johnny? All right, that was a great segue, actually. Let's get into Stuttering John.
Yeah.
So for any of you guys that haven't been following this very closely, I imagine a lot of you have, but I know there's some people that haven't. I feel like this phone call wasn't broken down enough. I think because things moved so rapidly. But I was fascinated by this. So a gentleman known as Vince the lawyer or Vince the attorney is friends with Stuttering John. He's friends with Shuli and Karl as well, I believe. I think now he's a former friend of John. I should amend that. I think he co-hosted John's podcast for a while, and he seems like a bit of a troll. He was on with me today on Shuli's show.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell if he's doing a bit. He goes, I really hate like people that say they're blind that aren't totally blind. And everyone like kind of laughs, and he's like, no, I'm serious. I was like, well, hey, check back in a few years, buddy. It's going. It's going rapidly. So you'll get your wish one day, I guess. And then he goes, what's the name of your podcast? And I go, Blind Mike Project. And he goes, can't find it. And I was like, it exists. I don't know. I'm not lying to you. What's going on here?
Very welcoming, it seems.
It was oddly confrontational, but I liked the job he did with Stuttering John. So I wanted to break that down a little bit before we get into the nitty gritty that's happened in the last 24 hours or so. So where are we starting here?
Well, first we had a super chat from Turbo. How often did Shuli remind you he's a comedian? He wants to know.
See, I was looking for all these. I would love to beat up on Shuli with you guys and Steel Toe. Guys, I'm the home. This is where you should come. If you want to make fun of Steel Toe and Shuli, send over as much shit as you want, and I'll do it. I just haven't found this crazy mockable. Well, I've seen some mockable stuff about Steel Toe, but I haven't seen shit that puts them on the level of Stuttering John, Tom Myers, Brendan Schaub. Well, not Brendan Schaub. He's a great man. Chris D'Elia, Roseanne, Alec Baldwin, the people we've been making fun of. I haven't seen the wealth of content from Shuli. So if you guys have it, send it to me. We'll have a field day. We'll have a lot of fun.
But apparently Vince is a major troll, the troll of them all. So
yeah, well, Stuttering John has turned on him. 2 days ago, he was his best buddy, and yesterday he was like, he's a scumbag. Don't associate with him. So who knows?
But first, it's just labeled Stuttering John.
All right, let's just get into it. Let's see what's still. We haven't heard from John in a while. Put yourself in a place before yesterday. We haven't heard from John in a while. Let's see what he's been up to.
I can't wait to address this Shuli because So, like, okay, let's just go over this. Okay, here we go. Vince, I am agreeing to be paid $12,500 to do your show. You are the interviewer, which by the way, I think you do a great job. I enjoy the way that you interview. I like that you don't take sides, but I am going to do your show for at least 3 hours, and I'm willing to confront both the dues payer and Kevin from Why Do I Podcast.
We have a full deal though. There's nothing. You're willing to face anybody that comes in. You're not gonna cry about
any question.
Go ahead.
Any question, anything they want to ask me, whoever is, I prefer to do it live because I love the fact that you could get super chats and people could ask me questions.
I love the fact that I could get even more money, possibly. He says, did he say 12,500?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so that's not close. It was 3,000.
I was gonna say he's like $9,000 off.
It was $3,000. That was the deal that he backed out of eventually with Karl and Shuley. And guys, I gotta tell you, he really, talk about sticking it to a guy. He bent Karl over and gave him something he really enjoyed. He jammed it up his ass because he said, Karl, take that $1,000 and you know where you can shove it? Right back into your wallet, and you can come on with me anyways for free. Oh, the egg on Karl's face. He's gonna have a tough time wiping that off. So I don't know. Maybe that's a joke that went over my head, or he was trying to make it appear he's more important than he is. I don't know where that 12,500 number is coming from.
I don't either. This next one is Karl is smart.
So he has a little compliment for Karl. It's not all hatred in their relationship.
Like in reference to Karl, let's face it, Karl was a huge fan of mine, and I think he still is. And he didn't invent goofing on me. So the first thing I'm going to say to Karl is, look, Karl, at the end of the sentence, I'm going to give you some credit here, but first I'm going to just call out. What you did was smart because you knew that I get over 7 million Google searches, and you knew that people know who I am. So by goofing on me, you were smart enough as a marketer to go, hey, I can make money doing this, and you did, and all the power to you.
What's amazing about John is he's a blithering idiot who can't get out of his own way. Yet he is somewhat strategic in his idiocy because you notice there, he goes, I get 7 million Google searches. That's incredibly vague. Does that mean all time? You get 7 million a day? What does that mean?
It's about a week.
So yesterday he throws out there, he goes, Karl knows I get 7 million Google searches. You know how much Anthony Cumia has had? 5. And they're like, 5 million? And he goes, no, the number 5.
Okay.
And I was like, John, even if he's a scumbag, that's not possible. He's had a very public firing. He was arrested. Even if it's for bad reasons. The Proud Boys started on his network. Like, you could say it's for bad reasons. Certainly more than 5 people have probably Googled me.
I know.
Nobody. 5 people have Googled Craig in their life and just thought, how can we put this guy away? Get him off the streets.
Is there a way to look up that number, or is he just being weird?
So what's interesting about 7 million, here's the thing about pathological liars, is I'm guessing throughout the course of time, let's not forget, Google's been around for 20 plus years. Could the name Stuttering John have been Googled 7 million times? Absolutely.
Definitely.
He was a big part of the biggest radio show of all time. That thing with Trump that happened, he prank called Trump. And now, Karl has built like a cult John following. So is the number 7 million possible throughout time? Certainly. John's making it sound like every day, 7 million people sit in front of their computer or their phone and think, God, I got to get my Stuttering John fix. What is this guy up to? What's the news of the day?
The chat thinks he held his own yesterday, which we will get to.
Really? Oh, yeah, I'll be curious to hear about that. We'll get there.
But Karl is gay.
You know what? Let's skip that. Let's save it because we find out more about how gay Karl is. So we'll skip that.
John's daughter.
This is interesting. So do you know about this? Do you know about the article written about John's daughter?
Is John's daughter of age?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then
This one is in college, I believe. I get a little confused because I don't think this is the one that transitioned, or maybe it is someone on the channel now. I'm not sure. But this daughter is in college. And an article was written about her, basically saying that she was homeless and food insecure. Her roots were in poverty. That's what this article was about. Now, part of this, the blame could be on the author trying to, sell some kind of a story. However, they don't mention John. This is not like a hit piece on John Melendez or anything. It's just about a college student who happens to be John Melendez's daughter. So this is him trying to explain when people say, "Hey, John, you always boast about being a millionaire. Why is your daughter homeless and starving?"
Well, because I just know he was talking about he gets, if the daughter's going out doing public things and is of age, I mean, there's really, what can you really say?
Well, he talks about the daughter does not get. Believe me, I'm sure there's assholes online that say horrible shit about his daughter. That's wrong. I don't endorse it. I think that's idiotic. John is the target. John's a public figure. There's no reason to bring his kids into it. But John brings up his kids all the time.
Right.
John talks about his kids and he inserts them into these controversies. And then this article was written about his kid. And John's trying to explain what exactly was meant and kind of talks to us like we're idiots for thinking she could have possibly been homeless.
No, John, daughter that just graduated had some article and it said that she was living in some form of poverty.
The reason why she said homelessness, which I can tell you, is because when she was in the dorm and when COVID hit, all the students had to leave their dorms because they weren't allowed to stay in the dorms. So now you have about, 10,000 kids looking for housing in Santa Barbara, which is not easy. So she went from one, like a group home, she had to go from different apartments. So there's where the fear of homelessness is.
Yeah. So hold on one second. So as we all know, and it's silly that people wanted to imply she was homeless. Every summer at Westfield State, I was homeless, of course. And that's always how I would say it. It was very natural. No one batted an eye. And then what was really annoying is then winter break, I had to be homeless for another month. It was crazy. It's such a topsy-turvy world, that college. That's what we all understand homeless to be, is when the dorm shuts down for a few months.
My home is more than 2 hours away from where I'm at, so I'm homeless.
Yeah, right.
When she said food insecurity, now it's not food insecurity meaning she was starving. What Lily is trying to do, what she means is food is unhealthy, and she was very insecure with processed foods.
Sure, yeah. She was insecure about what. Hey, you GMO eater. She was very insecure that people. Hey, those are empty calories, you pig.
Carbs are the devil.
She was insecure that someone might see her eating unhealthy foods. That's again what we all understand that phrase to mean. When someone dies in the streets. And someone's like, this place has a Cheesecake Factory, their calories are too high. That's exactly the same.
Growing her own foods because she's worried that we are becoming too dependent on processed foods. So it's not, which I'm surprised at you because you are a smarter man than most. So the homelessness I explained now thoroughly, and I explained what food insecurity means. So yes, people have misread that and we're under the impression she was, but then you got to ask yourself things, and you as an intelligent man, I have a condo, a 2-bedroom condo. She could always live with me and still go to Santa Barbara. Some kids do actually commute. And my ex has a house with 4 bedrooms. So there was never a case of homelessness.
Doing this.
So she was lying? I don't get. What's the accusation you're making, John? People read the article. Some guy didn't just show up on Twitter and go, "You hear John's daughter's homeless?" She said it.
It wouldn't surprise me though if she was just trying to be an attention seeker.
Well, based on the family tree, yeah, I would say
Exactly. No, that's what I mean. She's really taking in her dad's footsteps.
Yeah.
This is John talking about making money.
By the way, the reason so John made a lot of these points on the the MLC podcast yesterday.
Mhm.
The reason I like playing these clips is because you get to hear John's points without him screaming them, and Bob yelling over them, and Kevin trying to read super chats. It was a little the clips at times can be tough to play because John gets so he's screaming. These are a little more, you can understand his point a little more, even though they're just as ridiculous. But that's why I wanted to play these and I know Kevin took the video down also, so that's another factor.
He put up the Karl
segment. Yeah.
In parts. There's more than one part.
Yeah.
But I thought Karl was excellent.
I thought Karl did a great job. The second half I have issues with, but
I just thought it was very funny that every time Stuttering John was like, "Hey Karl, you're like gay," he just laughed.
Well, we'll get there. We have some of that. Don't worry.
Yeah, but this is him talking about making money.
Now this is very interesting because he makes a point here, and I brought this up on Shuli's show. They didn't seem to be as baffled by this as I was. This is John being very humble about the amount of money he was making in the stand-up industry.
Yes, I do. I collect a pension because just for me, like I started, I believe, around the time of COVID, maybe a little bit earlier, in collecting it because, COVID was devastating. Now, it doesn't mean I was broke. It means that, when you are making a decent living on the road, which I was, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't a six-figure living by any sense, but I was making money that I could pay all my bills.
That's interesting. Now, very humble. Hey, good for you, John. You're making a living. That's terrific. No qualms with that. Now, this is where John gets into a bit of trouble because he can't stay out of his own way. He's so braggadocious. He's so arrogant, and he hinges everything on wealth and things, toys that he has, and how big your house is, how much your house is worth. He got into that with Karl yesterday, where he goes, "I happen to know your house is worth $400,000." And it's like, yeah, in Rochester, that's a lot different than Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's a shed out in LA, dude. But
you could have a mansion in Rochester for $400,000.
We all heard him just say, very humble, out of character, even.
Yeah, hey, I made it okay living on the road. It was nothing crazy. Now, I can't figure that out because then he breaks down how much he would make in an average weekend. And you guys tell me how the math checks out here.
Yeah, this was labeled a few minutes earlier.
Meaning his last show, but I think that John may be back. Who the hell knows? I'm paying a lot for this, and also Karl and Shuli are going to kick in, hopefully, because it's a fucking extraordinary amount. John, before this, we were talking, and he said he was getting paid sometimes $10,000 for stand-up, sometimes $17,000. I think the price.
I mean, that's John. You couldn't work 8 weeks in a year.
I know shit.
Jesus Christ. I don't understand that, John. You should have been making $500,000. What the fuck is going on?
Right. I made $1,000 a day.
That's where in the same conversation, this is where people criticize John. There was a moment where, and I also didn't want to clip all of this because I know every show's going to be doing it.
Right.
I kind of wish I did have this though. There was a moment where, so I guess Bob Levy got into an accident and couldn't walk for some time. I didn't know that until yesterday.
Me either.
And, when he was kind of recovering, he had to drive for Lyft for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And John drove for Uber for some time. And he goes, everyone makes fun of me for being an Uber driver. You drove for Lyft. And John didn't know that Levy was fucking crippled during that time.
Right.
But Bob was like, yeah, and I made an honest living, and it was not like I got to talk to real people, and, I learned something. Like I had friends that booked comedy clubs that wouldn't book me because they didn't want to see me up there in a wheelchair. And like, I learned, like, it was a humbling moment for Bob, and he learned a lot, and it was very interesting. And then you could see John's like conflicted. He doesn't know what the fuck to do.
Right.
And they're like, well, John, why why do you act like it's embarrassing to be an Uber driver? And he goes, because I was embarrassed.
Which
And it was
him,
really, it was a moment of like, I got nowhere else to go. It was a powerful moment. And this is where I think Kevin kind of fucked up. He moved right on. I think he like went into super chats or something.
Yes.
That's a moment and I don't even blame Kevin because Kevin doesn't give a fuck about John's storyline at all.
Yeah, and if I remember right, the super chat he went to was for $400.
Oh, is that right at that time?
Yeah.
Oh, well then, hey, you got to make your money, Kevin. Good for you.
That's what I'm saying.
Pay the bills, baby. You paid the guy $3,000. Do what you got to do. But what would have been interesting about Karl and Shuli having that moment is I think they would have dug in there and said, well, John, why are you embarrassed? Because I'm a celebrity. And I think you might have gotten John to cry. Like that could have been a really powerful moment and kind of been, the culmination of all of this Stuttering John stuff. And that's where I think that all happened on the wrong show because I don't think Kevin was looking for that. And I'm not even blaming Kevin. Like I said on Shuli's show today, and people gave me shit for like not, going after them for some reason. My take on it was this. If Kevin's plan is to fuck with Shuli and just steal that interview away from Shuli, let Karl in, and, he hates Shuli so much that it's basically just a fuck you. Kudos, Kevin. You did a masterful job. Nicely done. If you look at your job as a podcaster to create content and put on the best show and give the fans what they want, you would have let John and Shuli go at it because, like I said, if Shuli's as unfunny as everyone says, maybe John would have had a fucking field day with him. And you would have seen Karl own John in the first hour, and then you get to see John take over and give it to Shuli. That, I think, would have been very compelling, but we didn't get that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But anyways, he says he was very, very embarrassed to be an Uber driver.
Yeah, I thought that was I kind of liked that out of John, though, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. It was a rare moment of honesty.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying is I wanted guys who were interested in digging into that.
Rare moment of honesty. Meanwhile, every question he's like, Karl, will you tell me the truth when I ask you this?
It's weird. It's weird to be a guy, like I don't make a lot of money. We're starting to do a little better here in the old Patreon, blindmike.net, folks. But I don't make a lot of money. So I'd be insane to go after Karl and say, what's your house worth? It's like, I rent my apartment. Who the fuck am I? John's in the same situation where John was in like an empty home yesterday. It was so echoey.
Karl was just like, I have 2 houses.
Yeah, and his big argument was like, my house costs the same as yours. And it's like, okay, you were on the Howard Stern show and the Tonight Show. Karl makes fun of you for a living. You shouldn't be in the same home.
Right. Only a pussy would back out is the last one we have here.
That was interesting. And to be fair, I did clip this before. I didn't think he was going to go on Kevin's show. But we can hear it because there's still some theories out there that John wanted to avoid Shuli for some reason.
Interesting.
For the show, I think it's best that we save it for it. Yeah, we're going to do it live. We're going to write it. We're going to do it live. And your fans are going to be out. That's where I was getting it from. Your fans will be out in droves. I mean, I'm excited to at least be a part of this. And then we'll see what Karl and Shuli can bring to the table, if anything. And then
my question is, are they going to back down?
I don't know, because I'll tell you this: when I was speaking with Shuli,
scared.
We wanted to meet about it, and he kept changing the time, and he wasn't really. I don't know. It didn't sound like he was into it. Then Karl told me that Shuli said that he was probably going to back out of it, which means that I'm going to have to pay a hell of a lot more.
Wow, really?
I mean, that's what they were saying. I don't know. That
wasn't genuine.
I don't listen to Shuli's show.
That just further exemplifies what a pussy he is.
And then John backed out. But no, of course, you got to give John credit. He did it. He went on Kevin's show and he faced Karl. And he said throughout the show, he kept saying, like, let Shuli on. And I don't believe that Kevin would have some backdoor deal with John where it's like, hey, I'm gonna say let Shuli on, but don't really do it.
Right.
I don't think Kevin's that kind of guy. He would have exposed that in a second.
He would have said it right from the jump.
What the fuck do you mean? You told me not to have him on. So,
You're a liar.
I'm sure Kevin's gonna be mad at me. I wonder if he'll scream my name at some point today. He's on the fucking Blind Mike. He's on Shuli's show. What's he doing? So yeah, I have no zero ill will towards anyone in this. I just find it so fascinating that these guys, it's such an ancestral group, because yesterday happens and then Shuli is stream sniping the show. So you could watch Shuli and Mike Morse and Vince watching Karl, Bob, and John and adding commentary.
Mike Morse of Mike Morse's comedy class?
Oh, he took me to school today, baby. Open up with a blind joke. Who would have guessed that? But no, he seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah.
But then Chad was watching all of them, and he quit. He quit because both streams had over 1,000 live viewers.
Yeah,
and I guess Chad had like 160 or something.
it's pretty good.
So hey, we're not sneezing at it, but
No.
but
no.
that's it's kind of crazy. And I said this to these guys, they didn't agree with me, but I think when Kevin gets the interview, and I guess maybe their hatred for each other runs deeper, but I feel like stream sniping or whatever it is, that's a little weird. It's literally just theft, because now I'm watching Stuttering John on Shuli's thing, and Shuli's argument was like, well, he fucked me over with the interview, so I'm doing this to him. Which, like, I get that instinct, but I'm just like, hey, Kevin won. Kevin bested you. He got the interview. We don't all get to, the finale of Succession. I don't get to just stream on my Patreon. There is like transformative content versus just showing someone's thing. But I think I guess they were pausing it and having Vince break it down. So I think it is different. I don't know exactly what they were doing.
No, they were doing weirder things. They were turning the volume down. He would break it down. They come back and it would just be in the middle of sentences and shit. But I guess if they were pausing it though, they would have been there for 8 hours.
Oh yeah, and if they're turning the volume down and commenting over it, then it is a different thing. People are watching a different show,
Right,
so.
Right. But still, it was while it was live, so it was.
So it was. I thought it was very good. I thought Karl did a good job. You said people in the chat thought John held their own.
I kind of thought he did all right. He did way better than I thought, at least.
In what way? What's an example of something he did well?
He didn't rage quit. So automatic win.
We're grading on a real curve here.
He was trying.
He didn't leave.
He was trying to have fun with it in some spots, which I didn't expect. I thought he was just going to be pissed the entire time. At one point, I thought him and Karl looked like they were blossoming a true friendship.
Are you? Did I say that to you? Because I texted Karl that.
Did you?
I texted Karl and I go, I think he's coming around on you.
No, I literally got that because he was laughing with them. He was like, "Oh, you're gay."
There were a couple times early on where they did laugh, and I think that changed after a while. But
yeah, well, they would get heated and then it would come back.
Well, let's get the montage. Let's get the heated montage. This is a quicker one than the other one we want to play.
Yeah, we got a couple super chats here, real quick. Okay. I come buckets. I infiltrated Shauna Ray's Discord. They hate me.
I can only imagine.
Can't imagine.
I come buckets. I can't imagine why they wouldn't want you there.
I need like a full report on what's going on in there. And Turbo $5 says John is AIDS and Shuli is herpes. It's not mutually exclusive.
Okay, that's a better analogy though. I'll take that.
You want the
shorter of the two.
Yes. Here we go. Here.
This is just this is a fun compilation. This is why I was saying it's kind of difficult to argue with John, because Karl would make points. He would bring up, the Sirius XM lawsuit, and they would talk about like jokes that Karl made, quote unquote, about John's kids. The joke that made, if you guys haven't seen it yet, the joke that Karl made about John's kids is basically, it was during a time where John kept saying, these people are talking about my kids. These people are talking about my kids. So Karl just said, like, after he played that, was like, boy, these kids sound like real losers. That was the joke. That's not a commentary on them at all. It's really more just fucking with John. But John would hang on to that and be like, so you did make fun. You're telling me you did make. And it's like, I guess, yeah. But I thought these were some of John's best retorts. Hack Ride put together a good compilation.
Okay, first of all, fuck off. Why don't you ever fucking let me finish? Fucking lying pussy. What a fucking pussy. Fuck off, Karl. Fuck off.
We made money.
Greedy, you dumb fuck. Dumb fuck, Karl. Dumb fuck. You dumb revisionist fuck. Fuck off, Karl.
Really?
Karl is such a fucking douche. I mean, fuck
Can you talk-
off. Hey, Karl, can you shut your fucking mouth for a second?
He could be a surly sort. He's a bit difficult to get along with.
He seems quite angry there.
I wish I had a soundboard that I could use that for Watts.
Just start hitting buttons.
Yeah. It's the first time I've ever called it Watts. I'm never going to do it again. I'm sorry.
I tried to plow through it for you, but
I didn't like it. I'm sorry, everyone.
Watts. I'm going to call it that exclusively now.
Yeah, so he would he took the approach of fuck you. That's always a good tactic. Then the other one is more interesting because we talk about this with our boy Richard Ojeda, who's a good liberal, progressive man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've heard him have trans people and Native Americans on to tell their plight.
Yeah.
And yet he also advocates curb stomping and bashing people's heads in and finding Republicans at their homes and fighting them.
Right.
So it's an odd dichotomy. Some might call it hypocrisy. John is a man who is also super liberal, very pro-gay rights. Also, what's interesting is has a trans child. I believe first John's kid came out as gay. I think they were just kind of confused on their sexuality and everything, and then later came out as trans. I believe I have that right. I could be wrong, but I believe that was the sequence of events.
I cannot be canceled. I have one of those.
You're doing a parody there.
I know.
In that phone call with Vince, he says, I mean, like 12 times. Well, that's the thing about my trans kid. And they were talking about my trans kid. Like, if I overheard my parents calling me their blind kid, I would be so insulted.
Is that all I am?
That's how you think of me? That's just how you refer to me to people? Trans kid? So John has a child in the LGBT community, which he claims to be an advocate of, which made this route a very strange one to go down.
Now, is this the compilation or the phone call?
This is the compilation.
Okay, this is the longer one here.
And let me just say, by the way, I just think this is funny to make John. I saw a bunch of people on Reddit like, "Whoa, seems like he's going to get fired from his job." Don't do that.
Yeah,
like John's. No matter how arrogant he is, he's humbled himself enough to be a substitute teacher and make a living that way. Don't fuck with his living. I just think it's funny that this guy would resort to these tactics.
I just think everyone needs to just convince him to cut his hair. That's all.
Well, he's getting acting work. Don't you understand, Craig?
That's true. I'm your pal.
Oh, I didn't get to get this point out on Shuli's show today. He said he was growing his hair out for acting work. John would be a tremendous actor if he played the equivalent of like Barney from The Simpsons.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like a blithering. He's got the perfect voice and cadence for it.
Mm-hmm.
If he played like an asshole drunk or a homeless person, it like Stanhope's role in Louis, maybe something like that, or just a fucking overbearing, neighbor, something like that. John could be great at,
right?
But I don't think he would ever reduce himself. He doesn't see himself that way. I don't think.
Yeah, well, I mean, that movie he made that we watched on Patreon, where you can find at blindmike.net.
Yes.
You can tell how he looks at himself judging by that movie.
The hero.
One lady's not enough. I had to fuck two ladies.
The suave ladies man.
Yeah.
He goes yesterday. Sorry to keep delaying this. Yesterday on that stream, he said, so I think someone jokingly asked how much money his movie One Too Many made. And he goes, they would never give me the numbers on that. It's like, I think they were doing you a favor, John.
You can tell Stuttering John wanted to call Karl an F slur. I have him saying it on a soundboard if you want me to play it.
Well, yeah. What would that sound like? What if we could hear John's inner thoughts just looking at Karl and how Karl sips a beverage? What might that sound like?
Shut up, you faggot.
Okay, well, John, it's a different era, and we've probably been demonetized. I forgot about that before I asked you to play it. But
You fucking cocksucker, bone-smoking, faggot, homo piece of shit.
okay, well, John, Jesus. I mean, the guy drinks his beer a little funny, and he has wood paneling. I don't know if that warrants that kind of hatred.
Love that drop. Very funny.
It's a Rochester accent, John. It's not a lisp. Calm down. All right, I'm sorry. This is a 5-minute. Karl was on for an hour yesterday. 5 full minutes of it was this.
Look, let me hide behind the car. Oh, other people said it, but I'm still going to say it so I can goof on John's kid. Karl, you don't have kids. I don't know what.
I know.
Maybe you're, because you do sound a little.
But family is not just kids.
Time out.
And let's
Time
get
out.
that straight right
Why
now.
do you think calling me gay is an insult? Why do you think that's an insult?
I didn't call you gay. I said
Hey,
you sound.
gotta say, Karl sounds a little gay there. Insult. Am I right, guys?
It's just smile
Bit of
talk.
a bris.
At one point, I don't know if it's in this compilation, but at one point, because Karl's got that wood paneling in the back, he goes, "Obviously, you are gay. Look at that wood paneling." Because he said he would replace it.
Everything about John is stuck in the 90s. It's not just him fixated on his past, like when he was at the peak of his career. That, of course, like his ego is stuck in the 90s, but it's also his mentality where he's like, he noticed like one effeminate thing about Karl, I guess. And he's like, "You must love sucking cock." It's like, I don't know. I guess.
Hey, you got me, Mike. You have any kids by any chance?
No, I'm gay.
Wow.
Too often. I actually don't have kids because obviously I'm gay.
I have 2 kids because I'm straight as hell.
There you go. Those are it's not so much gay straight as like, do you have kids or don't you? That's the code.
Right.
Well,
But
you
that
told
paneling-
Vince you thought I was gay.
But that
I heard the
paneling-
audio.
Well, the way you kiss, I don't.
You know what I hear? That's funny. Bob.
That's a very funny
You know,
line.
you know what I hear about DiCaprio? No kids. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Quite
that's right.
young too.
I know. He masquerades as a coxman, but no children.
He's just a cock man. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm gonna
But
say.
that paneling. Oh,
Six, you stop
what
doing that.
man? What man talks about how he drinks beer and how he drinks beer in the manly way? Shut the fuck up!
I don't know what that rant was. I don't know what he's talking about.
Man,
He's saying that he drinks beer like a gay man.
Right, but I've never heard
That's-
Karl say. He goes, "What man talks about how he drink?" I've never heard Karl be like, "Guys, this is how I drink beer." Maybe I missed.
I've
that
heard him.
episode.
I've heard Karl bring attention to it. He's just like, "Let me take a sip," not like, "Look how weird I am drinking it like this."
People criticize. I haven't heard. I've heard a lot of people say the worst episode of WATP is the music episode. I don't know what that is. I would think the worst episode would be the episode where Karl breaks down how people sip beverages. That sounds like a terrible one.
You know what? I'm willing to go and do that episode with him.
Now look at this guy. We know what kind of bars he goes to.
I'm gonna do my research on people taking sips of stuff, and then me and Karl are gonna break it down.
Trump would be a great one.
Trump would be perfect.
It'd be a short episode, but we'd have a couple good ones.
Yes, right.
if it is, I didn't know that. You must be an expert on how to guzzle a beer because you drink it like a little thing.
Hold on,
And
I
then
want to
you
get
put
my
it down.
butler. Can you get me some beer?
And it's
Here,
always
get me a
spilled
whiskey.
out because you have a little picture on the side. Oh, you're so cute. Oh, you're so cute.
I wish I could say
This is
the
how you
same.
talk to queers, you know?
That was a great line by Karl there too. He goes, "Oh, you're so cute." He goes, "I wish I could say the same about you."
I heard John's not looking at his best.
Oh no, he looks terrible. He looks like he hasn't seen the sun in months. It's just not great.
Oh boy, that's too bad.
Oh, that $400 super chat is on the screen right now for anyone curious.
Hey, tell that guy to subscribe to the Blind Mike Project if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, tell Dabblers Anonymous we want their business.
makeup you're wearing, Carl?
All right, so Carl.
Hold on, Kev. Carl, please answer. Do you wear makeup before you go on?
No, of course not.
Before he goes down.
No, before he goes on the show.
I don't wear
Carl,
makeup.
He has the best complexion here.
Bert
Okay.
Morgan said.
I know you don't have kids, so you don't.
I know. Now, that's kind of a gay comment, you ask me.
I have to say, this is where people get it wrong. This is not John having a problem with gay people. You know who he has a problem with is men who think they're women. That's what I think John has a problem with, is effeminate men that don't quite know, that do things like wear makeup or dresses or ladies' things. Maybe they're a little confused about the body they were born in. But I think that's the type of guy that John has an issue with.
Yeah, but I can say that because I have one of those.
Well, you don't understand. I own one. So I kept it from being homeless.
I got a 2017 one of those.
I don't really know. Why don't you have kids? Is it because you don't have sex, or because there's some?
Come on, let's keep it. Let's take the high road for a while.
I like to finish on the tits, John.
Thing, like you
I finish on the tits.
Come on, I'm just curious.
I like
All right.
Do you not have enough sperm, or
Come on.
Children.
now, Carl?
Stop drinking like that, Carl.
It's the most regressive conversation I've ever heard a liberal progressive have.
Oh, I know.
Where the things that make up a man in John's mind are sperm count and brawn. You have to be if you got a penis, you got to be a manly man. And that's how things have always been run in the Melendez home.
I'm starting to think Stuttering John is the gay one.
I'm starting to think John has a problem with that community for some reason, and I can't figure out why.
He hasn't come. It's almost like he takes it home with him. But he, at one point, just the whole complexion thing. He's like, "Oh, you're looking really good. How do you do that? I need your skincare."
Ooh, is John gay?
What's your skincare routine?
Ooh, John, you think a boy is handsome?
So you know that drop we played?
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if that ever became a thing, John would come out of the closet to deflect it. Like, I can say that.
I don't know. John sounds pretty gay to me. John and Karl sitting in a tree.
And if Stuttering John ever wants to call me gay, dude, I'm married and have kids, so I'm straight as hell. Just remember that.
I am not. Despite the woman that I live with and have sex with, I'm flaming based on how many kids I have.
That's kind of gay, dude.
It's super gay of me.
Do you guys share a bed?
I think, I'm not going to impregnate you. Fuck yeah.
It's so gay.
Might as well be a man's asshole.
Going off now.
He's such a tough guy.
This is great.
Look at that effeminate voice with that.
We don't want kids. Come on, take the high road.
Get away, you fucking lisping fuck. Listen to this. Carl,
Yeah, I have a speech impediment. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's great, John. Hey, you know what's hilarious? Other than not being quite sure of your gender identity, you know what else is really mockable? Having a speech impediment.
Very mockable.
That makes someone a real loser.
Everyone's talking over each other so much. I didn't realize you were talking for about 5 seconds there.
Well, that's why I didn't want to grab a ton of clips from this, because it was a lot of that. Like when Karl and John got going, it was good, but when four voices try to chime in, it's a little much. That's not even their fault. That's just the nature of StreamYard.
Right.
Then you decide.
Why are you dripping like a piazza?
You call me a prick. I think you're into pricks. Now,
which is the worst thing John could think of. A man who's into cock.
Remember, big Democrat.
By the way, great week for Hack Ride's out of context Blind Mike videos.
Oh yeah.
Piazza.
I'm better than you. Man, you're delusional.
Here's like, doesn't that seem odd?
I'll tell you what seems odd is that I'm actually going to care about you for a second. Do you want children?
No, I've never wanted children.
All right, let me read this. Mason in Portland. Hey, John.
You think I'm a fucking narcissist that you can't give anything to any other person?
I can get you a fly baby if you want, Karl.
John, do you have any friends who don't have children? Do you have any friends?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. So that exists. It's a thing
Because
that
they
happens in
look
the
like
world.
you,
There are people
and
who don't have children.
They can never get girls.
Okay. Well, I'm married, so.
All right, let me
I
read
know,
it.
but I think it's a fuck. I think she's a fucking. What do they call that? Fucking. Guys, whatever you call it.
Beard?
A beard, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing
Carl
better
has to
than
insult
Carl
himself for
finishing
John.
the- Carl
Hey,
finishing
my
the
wife
joke.
has a beard, John. Don't you understand?
That beard in your face.
I'll finish your jokes for you, John. I'm
That's the
good at
second
this.
beard you got.
Come on, let me read some super chats before they ask for their money back. Hey, John, glad you showed up.
Homophobic. I'm just saying maybe Karl is gay. I don't know.
Who cares? It's
But if it is, what's so
2024.
bad about it? What's so bad about
Yeah,
it?
everybody's
Nothing's
gay
bad
now.
about it.
Well, I'm gay.
But
Look at my
keep
shirt.
hammering him
Why
that
doesn't
he's
have
gay.
kids, Bob?
But
Maybe
if
that's
you
why he
hammer
doesn't
him that
have
he's
kids.
gay and
Maybe
nothing's
he
wrong with
doesn't
being
have
gay,
kids
why are you
because he
trying to
don't
make
like
why
ass and
are you trying to
We're all
embarrass him about
gay.
being gay if it's not a bad thing?
It's not a
Gay
bad
people
thing.
have kids. Gay people have kids,
It's
John.
not a bad
Just so
thing.
you know.
Bob, I'm asking him if that's why. That's the reason.
We're not going to go there. Teaching, Porco says.
Not a bad idea.
John's got kids. After Carl said that, just so you know, gay people have kids. He was like, "Oh no,
No, I'm not gay.
it's true."
By the way, if you listened to the Stern Show, like I didn't back in the day, but I've heard plenty of clips.
Mhm.
The idea that Bob Levy would have to step in as the voice of reason and say, John, don't you understand attacking someone for being gay is a little dated? Bob Levy's the one that has to be like, John, let's be, a little forward thinking here, for Christ's sake.
Or at least make it, I don't know, funny.
Well, he keeps saying like, I don't have a problem if you're gay. I just think you're a filthy queer. Okay, then. I don't know why you're screaming it at me, but I guess you don't have a
Everything
problem.
about you, yeah, everything about your people disgusts me. But I
You
have
don't
one.
a problem with it.
Not a
You guys
bad
ain't working
idea.
out.
Yeah, it's called giving back.
It's not a bad idea.
Oh, stop already.
Okay.
we don't deal with homophobia here.
It's
Yeah,
not
that's not
homophobia.
cool.
He sounds
Not
effeminate.
cool.
So maybe he's
Not
Not
cool.
even that effeminate. He's not even that effeminate.
Maybe he's a metrosexual. He's probably wearing makeup.
He lives in Rochester. They don't have those there.
They don't
I
have
don't think
makeup there.
metrosexuals
I've
like the
seen the
Buffalo
women.
Bills.
Jesus Christ.
I like when John's like schoolyard bully would come out and he'd mock his laugh.
It's very funny.
Yeah. So we had 5 minutes of a good gay off yesterday, which was fun. But yeah, I thought Karl did a good job, held his own. I didn't think John did that great a job. And then he did a weird thing. This is after Karl left, where Bob and Kevin kept mentioning, they're like, why do you keep saying that the fact that he doesn't have kids makes him gay? Like, and then they bring up John's old boss and supposed friend, Jay Leno. They go, Jay Leno doesn't have kids. And John goes, oh, well, I'm not going to say it, but there's a reason Jay Leno doesn't have kids. I'm not going to say it. And they're like, what does that mean? And he's like, no, you're not going to get it out of me. And so then I'm sure the reason, like maybe Jay can't have kids or his wife can't have kids or something. I'm guessing that's what he was implying. But you're making it, John made it sound like this sinister, horrible, like you guys don't even want to know. Jay Leno doesn't have kids because he slaughtered them all. He drowned them in the bathtub like Andrea Yates.
Or he was about to out him.
Or that, yeah, it allows the mind to wander, is John's form of keeping a secret. Also, let's pretend Jay's wife is barren and they can't have kids, just hypothetically.
Mhm.
Can you envision a scenario where Jay Leno, in the prime of his version of The Tonight Show, says, hey, Stuttering John, could you come here for a moment? I'd like to have a serious conversation with you.
He's winded. What is it, boss?
My wife's womb. I don't want you to think I'm gay.
Yeah.
You know? I know
Just
you're
so
going to
you
call me
know,
a
I'll
real
make it.
mo for this, but that's why I came to you first, to avoid the gay jokes.
Turbo with the super chat. Mike must be a fan of hitting the wrong hole.
I've never done it. I'm pretty careful about that.
Balin
Disabilities
David.
make you be more cautious, I think, with that stuff.
Super chat. This whole Stut Joe drama has been a blast. Thanks for covering it.
Oh, hey, believe me, it's my pleasure.
It's
well, like this stuff is interesting, but what I worry is too strong because I don't really give a fuck. But what I wonder about with those shows is like these moments are interesting. Now, Karl has done a good job, and I hope that we've done something similar, where Karl's built a world where Stuttering John disappears tomorrow. He has plenty of other things to talk about. In fact, they talk about a different podcast every week. What I worry about with those shows is like it's all so incestual that they're kind of based on one another. It's like Patrick Melton is watching Chad, watching Shuley, watching Kevin. And they all splinter off into these factions, and some of them hate Shuley, and some days Bob's quitting one of the shows, and then he's back, and it all seems like kind of fake drama to me, other than not including stuff like this. And then you have Steel Toe on the outside, just like trying to get into the mix with all of this. It's very weird. And now you could say I'm on the outside trying to get in too, but I think even Steel Toe has tried to build up like a world where they can talk about other things. But like a show purely based on getting super chats seems like very short-term thinking to me.
I come buckets with another super chat.
I mean, I'm not against reading them.
Can't hit the wrong hole if there's only one. # gay Mike.
Hey, listen. What if I adopt? Am I no longer gay?
That's straight as hell, dude.
Okay, all right, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As long as you have kids.
These two straight men with adopted a child together.
They eat buffalo wings and watch football. That's why, but that's basically why we just stick with Richard Ojeda. He's like separated now, and we just have fun with him.
Well, yeah, but it's interesting because John's very similar. Richard comes from the Stuttering John school, where these guys are like closet. I used to talk about closeted. These guys are closet Republicans.
Oh, yeah.
They would love nothing more than to go curb stomping and gay bashing all the live long day. But they've just chosen the wrong side for that.
That's going to get clipped. That's funny. Ojeda votes right on everything. He just says he doesn't.
Well, he used to. Well, no, he's a big weed advocate. That's his one big thing. I don't even know if that's a right-left thing anymore, is it?
The last holdouts are definitely on the right, which is annoying. Like Chris Sununu in New Hampshire. It's the only thing I don't like about him.
Let's legalize it, folks. Let's get Richard. You know what? Let's get Richard to make a Senate run up in New Hampshire, huh?
I would vote for him in 2 seconds.
That's what we got to get John to a different state. Not John. I'm sorry, Richard.
I think he actually is in North Carolina now.
I know, but they're not going to go for his liberal bullshit, you know?
Western North Carolina, West Virginia, same thing.
Yeah. All right. What do we have next here before we get into questions?
We got Seinfeld game. We got Bert versus Joe List. We got
let's do Bert versus Joe List. I thought this was an interesting story.
This is very
full
funny.
Full disclosure, Ari Shaffir does tend to embellish stories sometimes. But I believe this because I know some weirdness happened.
Did you watch the whole episode?
No.
Okay. I'll tell you after we watch this.
Oh man, is there context to this?
Kind of.
Oh, God damn. Is it worth playing still?
Well, I'll put it this way. It definitely happened.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hear the story just because I thought it was funny. This is happening at Mark Norman's bachelor party in Tampa, like almost a year ago, I think. And Ari Shaffir is so they're all drinking. Joe List, one of my favorite comics. Check him out if you haven't. He's a sober guy. And I'm always amazed at people that are able to hang out with drunks sober.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly couldn't do it. But Joe List is able to do that, I guess. And Bert is getting progressively drunk throughout the evening. And this is Ari telling the story on Two Bears, One Cave.
Bert is great. Okay. Bert and DeRosa are at this bar drinking heavily at a Thai bar.
Yeah.
And then they're like, Joe List, come get us. He goes, all right, are you ready to go? Because I'm sober, so I'm not going to sit at a bar with you guys. It's like, just come. It's a 5-minute walk.
Right.
They could have just walked the stuff back. By the time he gets back, he goes, where the fuck were you?
That's what Bert says?
Bert, immediately. We were sitting there for 2 hours. He's like, what 2 hours? You left an hour ago. It's not 2 hours. He goes, he's cranky. He's cranky.
He's coming off.
Yeah, it's coming off or not quite right, or he hasn't had his sleep. So I'm down at that point, and now there's pizzas coming, and Joe's like, yeah, whatever, we got pizzas too, it's no big deal. And he goes, you got pizzas? You said Thai, and he goes, I didn't say Thai. I don't like Thai food, so I never would have wanted Thai. He goes, what the fuck did I get Thai food? And he starts just screaming at Joe List, just screaming at each other's faces, not each other's faces. Joe List is like, dude, what is this fight about? I just hacked on some pizzas to whatever you got.
Sure.
So I'm done with my shot. I'm down there, right? And by the way, there's this beautiful sunset happening behind them. So the rest of us are just sitting there watching the sunset, and these two fucking dorks are just fucking Bert's just screaming at List. It was so magical. And then eventually I kind of chimed in. I was like,
we can eat pizza and Thai food?
Yeah, exactly. This isn't a problem. By the way, Bert ate pizza later. And then he goes, and I'm like, I said Thai food was fine. He goes, you weren't here. Don't you ever say you wanted Thai food. He literally said, don't you ever, and he accentuated, say you wanted Thai food. You were showering. Dude, it was the best. It was the best. And then he slept for 14 hours.
Okay.
So that to me is the downside of being Bert Kreischer and being shit-faced all day, every day, and the content creator.
Yeah.
Is like, there has to be an ugly side of that,
Oh, for sure.
Not even his. That's how people get when they're drunk. Like people have moods like that.
I can hang out with people drinking. I can't hang out with people that drunk when I'm not.
Yeah, so I don't know how you would do it, but I thought that was an interesting story. But what were you going to tell me?
So Tom couldn't think of anything but this story, so they had to call Bert.
Yeah.
So they call him, and Bert just starts denying the whole thing. And then Ari goes, all right, let's go piece by piece through this whole story. And Bert confirmed everything happened.
Oh, okay, good. So it is true.
Yes. And then
okay. I thought you were about to tell me it was an Ari Shaffir.
No. It was 1,000% true. And you can always tell Ari's telling the truth if it has nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Well, although he did go on a podcast and say Joe DeRosa was being charged with tax evasion. So
that's true.
So he'll tell a fib here and there. But I was interested in it from the perspective is it's hilarious for the guy on the receiving end of that to be Joe List, who's just such a go with the flow, like, what are you doing, man? Kind of a guy. I love have you ever heard Nick Mullen's impressions of Joe List and Mark Normand?
No.
He does he used to do a character on Come Town called Cruisin' Joe List. And it would be Joe List going into looking for gay sex in bathroom stalls. And he would say shit like my favorite line is I like to hang out in the handicap stall, or as I call it, the master bedroom, which feels like a Joe List joke.
That's very funny.
And then, but he goes, for Mark, you just go a little higher. He's like, Joe, Mark. And it's a pretty good impression.
They do have the same voice, the exact same voice.
It's weird that those two men found each other.
I know.
They're very similar guys.
Everything about them.
On paper, anyways.
Yes.
But yeah, I know a lot of people shit on Bert. I like him, but that's a thing that I have always thought where I'm like, there has to be, it can't be the fun party guy the party ends at some point.
Right.
There has to be a dark side. And that's why I thought that story was so great. Joe List having to deal with this fucking guy. You never ordered pizza.
Yeah. On the phone, Bert, he was like getting mad. He's like, Joe List has the palate of a 7-year-old.
Well, that's true. So the beginning of that story, and this is where I related to Joe, is Bert's like, I'm going to order food for everybody.
Right.
And Joe says, okay, well, I'm not going to do that because I eat different things. That's where I would be the same. Now, I don't have the confidence to. I would just be like, I'm not that hungry and not eat, I guess. But that's where I would be like, I'd rather order a fucking chicken parm or something than Mexican food,
Right. Yeah.
And but it's just funny to be the guy where it's like, no, we all eat what I want to eat. And I think when you're the combination of the fun guy and the party animal, and also the richest guy in the room, it is tough to walk the line of still being one of the guys and not being someone that's like, we eat what Bert wants.
Not a Mexican food guy, huh?
I'll do like a quesadilla. You know what? I've come around on some stuff. Like I do like a taco once in a while, if you know what I'm saying. Even though I don't have any kids.
It's pretty straight.
But I would get a quesadilla probably or something like that if we were at a Mexican restaurant. Nothing too crazy.
Don't like burritos, none of that stuff.
It's a little much for me.
Rice and beans.
You know what it really is? The combination of things. Like if I'm gonna have veggies, I want them separately. If I have broccoli, I want broccoli. I don't want broccoli in my pasta sauce or in my sandwich. Lettuce in my sandwich or something. I want a salad. I separate my foods.
I do that for the most part, except for like holiday meals. Everything gets mashed together in Mexican food.
I'm criticized a lot in my home because I'll eat if let's say I get a burger and fries.
Mhm.
I'll eat my burger, then I eat my fries.
I'm the opposite.
If I have a salad in there, I eat the salad, then I eat my burger, then I eat my fries.
I go fries first, then burger because the fries.
Well, you do it all one at a time, one item at a time, right?
Yeah.
I'm belittled in my home for this.
See, you gotta have
crazy.
I don't know why I'm always like in my head I'm like, all right, I'm gonna eat the worst thing first and work my way to the best thing on my plate.
Oh, I kind of do that. I kind of do that too, but it's more the what's the word I'm looking for? The organizing of it that gets me
right.
a good ribbing.
Right. I always I like try to make sure stuff doesn't touch on my plate.
Yeah.
But I eat.
Well, that's really what brings this show together. Our plates. Craig likes segregation in his nation and on his plate.
There we go.
Yep. Let's keep them all separate.
That's what I hear.
No. The collard greens isn't going to be moving over to my neighborhood.
No, that gets eaten last. That's the cream of the crop right there.
All right. And then the other update we had before we get into questions is has Bam Margera escaped?
Yeah, I think it was a voluntary leave, but he just basically got candy bars, energy drinks, and said, "Fuck this place."
Oh well, everything I saw, like on Reddit and shit, was saying that he left early. He left his rehab early.
Yeah, but it wasn't one of those mandatory you can't leave ones.
Okay, but I suspect he's not getting the proper help that he needed.
Correct. No, he's going to do part 2 with BJ.
Oh, good. Yeah, that'll be great. That's when we know he's doomed. It's when he turns up there.
Yeah, he's gonna.
She's like, Bam. Once I get done with these submarine victims, I'll get right to you.
There's a nice, fun joke in the chat if you want me to read it to you.
Please.
Why did Blind Mike cross the road?
Oh no.
Answer: to suck off dudes.
Oh, come on, fellas.
You guys, we established.
Come on, guys. Quit razzing me, will you?
You guys ragging me.
Knock this bitch up just to show I ain't gay.
You see how hetero I am? I'm having a kid. That's funny. Do you want to do questions or the Seinfeld game first?
Let's do questions. Let's end with the Seinfeld guy. I like to end with Hack Ride. That way the people that like Hack Ride stick around and the people that complain
can leave.
Have fair warning and can sign out.
Gotcha. All right. We'll start with the Patreon questions.
All right. By the way, folks, go to blindmike.net. That's where you can find the Patreon.
That's right. That is right. Oh my God, there's a lot more than I thought. Jared,
really doing something big here, gang.
Well, I checked before we started. There was like 10 more added.
Wow.
Yeah. Jared Paula. No question for Blind Mike Project, but Blind Mike Project has been on an absolute heater. Hack Ride might be the Jim Norton that pulls everything together.
Well, let's not get crazy about his level of involvement, but yes, he does a good job. Well, I've seen a lot of criticisms of Hack Ride in these comments. And I would just say, first of all, I think it does a great job. And if he's not here cutting clips, and I've seen criticisms of his clips, I don't get the full nuance of all of them because some of it's very visual. my criticism of Hack Ride's clips is that when I ask him for something, for
Mhm.
example, the other day I messaged him, and after seeing all the clips that he cut, I just said, "Hey, just going forward, I think the general rule of thumb should be each segment, the clip should be the funniest part, the funniest line or the funniest riff that we went on. That should probably be the clip." I expected in response, "You got it." I mean, I got 9 paragraphs, and it involved an analogy where I'm hustler and just spread my gash wide open, while he's playboy and he has a little fucking class.
Yeah, 9 paragraphs sounds like my good morning text from him.
So it's a long debate with him. So, but here's the thing. I think he does a great job with the clips. He gets to me very quickly. And if Hack Ride weren't cutting these clips and making these thumbnails and cutting up the segments, it just wouldn't be done. Like, the YouTube channel isn't big yet by any means. It's still a smaller channel for sure, but it's grown. Like, I saw someone say like we have like less than 3,000 subscribers right now on YouTube, and someone in the comments was like shitting on that, and I was like, well, a year ago it was like 600, so
Right.
I'm okay with the growth there. Like, we didn't hit 1,000 until December, I don't think. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with how quickly it's grown, and I think Hack Ride's been a big part of that. And if he weren't around, that stuff wouldn't be getting done. So he's been a massive help. I wish he were a little more receptive to guidance, but I do think we have a good give and take. We debate things and we come to some sort of. It's weird that I have to compromise on my own show, but I've resigned myself to
that. David Leclerc, I know you don't do More on Money anymore. However, can we talk about Tilray? Mostly the news that made the stock price drop. I didn't really understand it. Should I panic and sell?
Tilray is the cannabis stock that I own, and I like them because they started buying up a bunch of alcohol brands in America to make it easier to get in the country. It's a Canadian cannabis company. So in order to make it easier to get into America when the borders open up, they've bought a bunch of alcohol brands, and I think they've been pretty smart about it. Their stock plummeted. Now, I'm curious from this guy to hear the news, because I couldn't find anything other than just genuine, like, general what happens to weed stocks a lot. I didn't see anything specific. Like, they bought another weed company, Hexo, recently. I didn't see anything specific that made it tank. So if you know, sir, let me know. But for now, I've hung on to it. For anyone new, by the way, I did a program called More on Money, our financial show. I stopped doing it because I didn't seem like there was a ton of interest. And we do enough stuff on the Patreon anyways, I think. But if I hear if there's a groundswell of morons out there, I could bring it back here and there.
Definitely. Where'd it go? Shit. Loving Why You Laughing and Singing Its Praises. This is from Kyle. To everyone I know, hack question, but whatever. I'm paying, so you deal with it.
Why do you have to be confrontational? Ask whatever you want. Don't poke me in the chest as you ask the question.
I think he knows.
Deal with it, buddy.
Who's on your all-time Mount Rushmore of stand-ups? Obviously,
we've seen one together. That would be Brendan Schaub.
Yep.
Tom Myers, who we're seeing tomorrow.
Yep.
No. My personal would be Norm, Chappelle, Louis, and Colin Quinn. All time would have to be Pryor, Carlin, Lenny Bruce. I don't know who the fourth would be on that list. That's very open to you. If you wanted to do a woman, you could do Joan Rivers. If you wanted to do like a one-liner guy, it could be Rodney. That's where it's completely open to interpretation. But I think like the three godfathers of comedy would clearly be. I mean, you could make an argument for Red Fox instead of Richard Pryor, but I just think Richard was a better comedian.
Yeah, I think I said this at one point. I was like, I think Pryor, Carlin, Eddie Murphy, Dice.
You put Dice on the Mount Rushmore of comedians?
Oh yeah. For sure.
See, to me, that seems like a stretch. I think he did a lot more than he gets credit for.
Yeah.
Like, I think.
Look how every single comic is touring right now. If he's the one that laid the groundwork for that.
Yeah. Well, part of that too, I think, is that live events have become so big because like we're all on our phones constantly. So it's not that rare to hear a comedian's material or hear a podcast on your phone or something. But like a live event is more rare. So I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, Dice definitely, and Steve Martin laid the groundwork for a lot of that. Steve Martin's another guy that he could be up there if you're talking Mount Rushmore. But yeah, my 4 would be Norm, Louis, Chappelle, and Colin Quinn.
Someone responded to that question. Says, of course, it has to be Hannah Gatsby, Michael Richards, Brendan Schaub, and Tom Myers.
That's a pretty good 4. I would put Dan Ninen in that group. He's pretty great.
Pete Gurgio.
Pete Gurgio. Yep. Pete Gurgio. He has not posted. I'm not saying it's us because we made fun of him around the same time as the Bonfire did.
Mm-hmm.
He has not posted since then.
For real.
Pete Gurgio has disappeared. I hope he's all right. Someone messaged me or commented, I forget which, on the Patreon and said they were going to see Pete Gurgio. I never heard back from them. Oh, I said, give me a full report. And then I never heard back from them, which leads me to believe maybe he never made it back.
Oh, God, the whole place,
you know,
it implodes like a sub going to the Titanic.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I come buckets with the super chat. I do a better job than Hack Cuck. Dude,
cut some
sacks.
clips then. Cut some clips then. It's easy to say. Everyone that's ever reached out to me, Craig, people wonder why Craig's here too. Craig's the first person who's ever reached out to me to produce the show that doesn't follow it up with, I've never produced anything in my life, but I feel like I do a pretty good job.
I think I just sent like a VGS episode and was like, we have similar thoughts.
I was like, the sound's not terrible. These guys, I said their thoughts on race and sexuality were a little harsh for me, but maybe they could bring a little edge, a little flavor to my program.
Yeah, that's right. If you do another Why Are You Laughing prank call episode, can you include Longmont Potion Castle?
I don't know them. I'll have to look into it.
I have no idea what that is.
Neither do
Just started listening. Big Who Are These Podcast fans. Loving Why Are You Laughing so far. Would love Pat Cooper and Artie Page episodes.
Artie for sure. Pat Cooper, I may just do a life of Pat Cooper because a few people reached out to me and told me to read his book. I haven't done that yet, but they said it was highly recommended. So maybe if I check out his book and declare his life worth a full episode, I like that. I get to measure people's lives like that. Like, sir, were you worthy in your 92 years? Were you worthy of a Why Are You Laughing episode? But yeah, Artie for sure will get a bonus episode at some point. We did, by the way, if you want to go check out the Patreon, we did do Artie versus Joe Buck on Patreon a couple months ago.
Right. And that was a very fun episode.
Yeah.
Mike Driscoll, big fan of the shows. They help me get through my night shifts. Mike, are you a fan of Dimitri Martin, and would you ever do a Why Are You Laughing on him?
I like Dimitri. I don't know what the fuck happened to him.
I don't either.
He disappeared. He was a great, clean comic.
Alt comedy god.
Now here's what I said about Mitch Hedberg in the Mitch Hedberg episode. I don't think you guys really agreed with my point, but I stand by it that if Mitch Hedberg lived, I think he would have eventually been viewed as like hacky. Because I think there's only so many of those like observations that you can come up with before people catch on to the formula and they're like, oh yeah, escalators, they're just stairs, right? We got it. Eventually you almost become a victim of your own success because people kind of figure out the formula of your jokes. I think Dimitri Martin might be kind of an example of that, where I think his early stuff was great, but then you got it, you know, like I get where he's going, you know?
Right.
And then I watched the show House of Lies, and he had like kind of a dramatic part in that. So I guess he tried acting for a while, but I really don't know what happened to him.
I have no idea because he was kind of doing. He was popping up everywhere for a while.
He was huge for a little. He had a Comedy
Yeah.
Central show.
Yeah.
His specials they played all the time, but I don't know where he went really. He was it seems like he was on the trajectory to be like what Nate Bargatze took over for.
Right.
You know?
It's a good comparison. Brendan Burchell, loving the Why Are You Laughing? You're a creative genius, and I hope I get invited to Westfield State when they unveil a statue of you.
All right. Well, I wrote that, but I needed to lift my spirits.
This is from Z-Beeb. Dear Milk and Crag. I don't know. Just Milk and Crag.
Okay.
My girlfriend knows I like stand-up comedy, so she decided to start watching stand-up comedy too with me. Unfortunately, her taste is garbage. If I have to hear Ali Wong talk about her vagina one more time, I will do shotgun lobotomy. My girlfriend thinks it's cute to spend time together on this shared interest. It is almost every evening now. She just discovered Bert Kreischer. It's like a never-ending nightmare of terrible jokes and mind-numbingly predictable punchlines. This is a long story. The high-pitched squealing of that man-child is enough to make me use knitting needles as Q-tips.
Jesus.
Furthering the situation, the Netflix algorithm now keeps suggesting even more of this trash. Tomorrow she wants us to watch the Amy Schumer Leather special, unironically. How can I tell my girlfriend her taste in comedy is terrible? Is the relationship worth saving?
So here's my question, though. Does she hate the comedians he likes?
That's a great question.
You know what I mean? Like, could you show her? Because my recommendation would be show her Shane Gillis. Because the logic would be like, well, if she likes Bert Kreischer, she would think Shane's a fucking genius. You know what I mean? So show her the comics that you like, whoever that is, and then maybe she'll get really into it. Because that's kind of what happened with my girlfriend, where she liked stand-up but didn't really know a lot of it. And then I introduced her, and then a lot of the guys, like I said, Mark Normand and Joe Liston, these guys became her favorites. So that's what I would recommend. Now, if she doesn't like them, I would say just don't talk comedy with her. Just avoid it.
This is the best super chat we've ever got because I think I know why they did it.
Okay.
It's from Tampa Catalytic Converters.
Okay.
Mike, do you know if Karl has a doghouse?
That's very good.
The professional of logic. That's a very funny comment.
As a matter of fact, he doesn't have a doghouse.
Oh.
So you're one of them gays. That's very funny.
Oh, that's very funny. I see. I had the same thing because my wife started like finding Matt Rife funny, and I'm just happy that she's into stand-up, even though it sucks.
That's what I'm saying. Is show her like Brian Regan,
right?
You know what I mean? Nate Bargatze, even Gaffigan, someone that's easier to watch.
You know what's unfortunate is if they like Matt Rife, they're gonna like D'Elia, like that kind of thing.
You don't let it in your home,
right?
It's like any good father,
right? I'm gonna have to go to the Dan Cook route, like the god of that stuff.
Yes, sure. Show her Vicious Circle. It's timely.
It's very funny. Kirk 5K. Can we get an update on 1, your therapist sessions, 2, if your neighbor still hates you, and 3, is the boat trip with Alba's dad happening?
I saw a few of those come in.
Yeah.
I'll do them in order. Therapy's been going well. Nothing to update there other than what I've given. Did I tell you guys I could clearly hear him like on a hike or something?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So that's about the update.
Yeah.
Is that he's still, I still hear a lot of background noise and wind and things that tell me he's outside. But other than that, he's a real pro. What was the second one?
Do your neighbors still hate you? I think the trash people.
Yeah, so I think I told this story at some point too, but they still give Alba, I'm sure me too, I just don't notice it. They still give Alba dirty looks when she's out. Like if they see each other, like Alba might even say hello and she'll just like glare at her. And it's like, I gotta say, it's been 3 years it's a funny story that they overheard me kind of like making fun of them. What I said was not that bad for any newbies here that don't remember. My neighbors, the day we moved in, or maybe the week we moved in, I was carrying in like groceries, and a neighbor comes up to me and goes, "Hey, my name's Kevin," and he sticks his hand out, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you." I shake his hand, and then make sure my windows are closed. Like they're still talking about it.
Move on.
But so then I have a buddy over that night, and I'm just talking to him, and he's like, "How are the neighbors?" I go, "They're friendly." I go, "Honestly, a little too friendly, if you ask me." I go, "What? We're neighbors? I gotta shake your hand?" And I'm just kidding around. But I guess they happen to be outside and overheard that.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, Mike's whisper voice is what you're currently hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. So they heard that, and they've held a grudge for 3 years. Now, what's interesting is
It's a very funny thing to hold a grudge
Alba
over.
bonded with one of the new neighbors. We live in like a multifamily complex type of thing. So new people move in, and Alba bonds with them, and they're telling stories. And it turns out they had an incident with the same neighbor. And Alba goes, "Oh, yeah, we had kind of a rough experience with them." And the neighbor interrupts her to say, "Oh, we heard all about that." Which would suggest that they're telling the story to anyone who will listen.
There's a blind guy up there.
Yeah, they're still not a fan. But I get very loud in here, so they probably hear me just saying nonsense, which probably doesn't help.
Fuck them.
Oh, now the boat story. So again, to refresher for anyone that doesn't remember. Last year, and admittedly, we may have had a couple pops, which, liquid courage may have factored into this. Me and the old man are talking, and he says he likes to get out on the boat and fish. He said he'd like to try deep sea fishing. And there's also a language barrier, so we don't bond a lot. He's from Albania. He doesn't speak. He speaks enough English to get by, but doesn't speak a ton of English. So we don't have moments where we bond a lot, really. So I pounced on this, and I said, "Hey, buddy, you like to go fishing out on that deep blue? My stepdad has a boat. Let's get you out there sometime." Now I think to myself, this will never come up again. I can just say, I can make as many empty promises as I want. We get in the car, and Alba says, he's going to want to go fishing, right? And I'm like, nah, he'll forget about it. And I thought that he had. A couple weeks ago, they had just traveled.
A couple weeks ago.
It was the month of June, so yeah.
No kidding. Okay. I didn't realize there was that much of an update. All right.
A couple weeks ago. I meant to actually say it on the show, and I just forgot. They're speaking Albanian, as they often do in front of me, and I always speculate that it's got to be about me. And sometimes I know that it is, because I hear my name mentioned. I don't know all the context, but I hear the name Mike. So I know they're talking about me. My ears kind of perk up. And Alba goes, "Oh, my dad wanted me to tell you that when they traveled, whoever they met up with out there brought them out on their boat." And so he's telling this story to Alba and went out of his way to say, "Mention this to Mike." And I was just like, "Oh, good. So he's got his fix then." His thirst has been quenched. I guess he doesn't need to get out there.
That's very funny.
Yeah. There's definitely a resentment he has for me, I'm sure.
Super chat from Farfanugan, which is a rollerblade grind, if I am not mistaken. Craig, you're kidding me. How could your wife think Matt Rife is funny? Divorce soon? I'm just kidding.
But that's if your issue is with Craig's wife, it should be for her choices in life for sure. But I can't blame her for the Matt Rife choice, because if you look at Matt Rife's audience, he's got 15 million fucking TikTok followers. They're all women.
All of them.
Maybe there. Mike speculate. Maybe there's men in his audience,
just gay ones.
There's a lot of Karls in the audience. But my assumption would be it's boyfriends that are dragged there, like Craig, or like, all right, well, I'll go to I do like comedy, I guess. We'll go to a show.
Maybe the opener's not terrible.
Yeah.
From Very Good Ben, how many airplane seats did they make you buy when you went on vacation?
Now, I know I know he's implying that I'm overweight. What I wonder about that is the phrase "make you," as if like Delta Airlines calls you and is like, "Listen, cocksucker, you're booking a vacation, or you're never going to see your family again."
Shout out to Keto Craig, looking svelte below his enormous head.
Is that right?
Down 32 pounds. Yeah.
Whoa, good for you.
Yeah. Yep. All right, we got like a ton of questions from Ted, who I thought was dead. Apparently, he's not.
Okay. We'll take them one by one.
One. What do both of you attribute to your your rapid success in the world of podcasting?
Hilarious. Next.
And then he wrote in parentheses, serious question. Both of you have come a long way. We're just having fun.
This is a guy, for newer people, this is a guy he's been a day one subscriber. And every comment is like, you guys aren't successful. When are you going to close up shop? I don't know. I enjoy doing it. I'm making enough money to keep doing it. I don't know. I like it. Why's it bother you so much?
Two, I guess this question's already been answered. Does anyone miss more on money besides me? Yes. Someone was looking for it earlier.
True.
3,
that was sarcastic too. He seems like a fun guy. This guy.
I always assume everything with him is mean or sarcastic. Number 3, 194-yard par 3 bunker in front of you. Can't miss long. What is Craig hitting? Probably a 4-iron. I'm gonna go high 4-iron. Do you agree the Patreon message boards have greatly missed contributions?
Missed contributions.
I guess.
What does that mean?
I think he means people just talking under each post.
Oh, I mean, I guess I'd like more of that, but I don't care. I'm not gonna. It's not mandatory.
No, they pay. That's enough.
Yeah. What do I give a fuck? Do what you want. Comment as much as you want, or as little as you want.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want.
This is my issue. Like, I appreciate his support and everything. Everything's a very technical, like he's going to fire me if I don't meet my numbers. It's like, I'm doing well enough for me. That's all that really I give a fuck about.
With all these new subscribers, will Mike throw a little money? Mike throw a little money.
If it's all just sarcastic.
Yeah. Who is the best up and down? Who's the best up and coming comedian right now that most have never heard of? Joe List blows, so don't say him.
Well, I mean, that you don't want my recommendations. Like, what can I tell you? If you don't like my style of comedy, why would you ask who I like?
This is Ted. He's just doing it again. He's come out of the clouds, and now we're just like, fuck him.
But do you see what I mean? It's just weird to be like, who's your favorite comedian? Not the ones you like. Oh, okay. I like Jordan Jensen, who's a young female comedian who people haven't heard of. Colin Turrell. Renan Hirschberg, I thought had one of the best specials last year. Not a lot of people know him. Chris O'Connor. What'd you say?
I said friend of the program.
Who's that?
Renan Hirschberg.
Well, that's right. He did come on early on. Yeah.
Yeah. This was 2 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think someone really on the rise that's going to be headlining soon, I would probably say, is Jordan Jensen. I think Colin Turrell also. Chris O'Connor. Oh, McCusker filmed the special. I think that's gonna be big for him.
It's gonna be.
So check out Matt McCusker.
Tough. Yeah, it's gonna be tough to beat that one this year.
Yeah.
I
or Ted, you shouldn't check them out because we don't have similar tastes. Like, if you don't like Joe List or Shane Gillis or the guys I like, you're not gonna like these people. So,
super chat from Turbo. Mike, are you a bottom or a power bottom?
See, I was worried about this. I shouldn't have revealed I don't have kids.
It's a tough thing to do.
I shouldn't have admitted that I'm a man now in my 30s, childless.
Let's see.
I hope that kind of horseplay stops. Enough with the gay jokes.
Yeah. Do not super chat gay jokes at Mike.
No, they're not allowed. All right.
I won't read them.
He'll read them, but they're not allowed.
Yeah. Grumpy Pete. I've been all in on the last 2 Why Are You Laughing episodes regarding Ants firing the Joe DeRosa saga. It brought me back to your stop apologizing Twitter days and going back and forth with folks.
That's a long time fan.
My question to you is, why do you think consequence culture became so prevalent over the last 10 years or so? I have my thoughts on how, but I'm interested in what your take is on it. How your view has changed since back in the day when you were fighting the good fight on that.
I've abandoned my men.
Love you, brother. Keep it up.
I've only heard. Is that a new phrase? Consequence culture.
I haven't heard.
Because I've heard it recently and only recently.
I just heard about it just now reading this for the first time.
I talked about it a lot in that Kumi episode where back in the day, I was like, everyone should be able to say everything and fuck you and boycott that. And now I see some of the flaws in a lot of that. But I think what was true of me then and is still true now is that I've always thought the best consequence, as it were, should be that, like, if you disagree with Anthony, he can answer for that. Like if you're the Young Turks and hate what Anthony said, have him on and talk to him about it and see if you understand his side. Now, most people are so dug in that they won't, but it's like we talked about with Rogan and that Professor Hotez, is that, the vast majority, or the vocal people, the extremes, aren't going to change their mind, of course, but there might be some people that actually take something out of it for the better. And actually learn something. So that's always been my answer to all of that. I don't know if that answered the question or not, but
Kyle in the chat said he saw McCusker when he opened for Dave Landau. He was an okay opener. We just saw his finished hour and it was fucking hilarious.
He opened for Dave Landau, really?
That's what he says.
McCusker's had an interesting career because he just kind of quit stand-up for a while and has gotten back into it. And I think his new hour is really good. I also think if Joe DeRosa puts out his hour, I've been talking about it ever since I saw it live.
Right.
I don't know if he plans on putting it out, but if he does, I think it's great.
I always like DeRosa. Ted's calling you an asshole because he was asking good questions, no sarcasm.
Well, okay, then give me one you didn't read, I guess.
It was just about paying me in hack ride. It's not worth it.
No, go for it.
Where is he?
I'll answer all the questions. It's just the same. It's the same stuff. Like, why aren't you successful? Why aren't you paying these guys? Like, we got it.
With all of these new subscribers, will Mike throw a little money Craig and Hack Ride's way, or will he continue the Kirk Minahan method of simply not paying people for their contributions to the show?
Well, I've specifically said I don't want to be paid, so there's that. But Hack Ride straight up refuses. I've tried to offer Hack Ride money. He says, I don't deal in money, was his response. God only knows what that means.
That's a weird answer.
I've thrown Craig money before when I can. I try to. And if these guys said, I don't have the time to do it anymore unless you pay me, we could have that discussion. I just can't afford to have salaried employees at this point. But
I'm along for the ride. I'm along for the ride for when we do get there, buddy.
Thanks, pal.
And when you do, it's just a nice surprise. So no complaints here.
I like a guy, but that's my thing. Again, Ted has supported this show since day one. I really appreciate that. But it's if every time you shake my hand, you've got one of those wacky buzzers. Eventually, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm onto your games, buddy. I know what this is.
I come buckets with another super chat here for you, Mike.
Go ahead.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Blind Mike blowing dudes.
Oh, come on now. I'm straight as an arrow, baby.
Should have had kids, dude. Justin Trudell's sending super chats. Is there any Maryland food you were dying? Is there any Maryland food you are dying to try? I heard seafood pizza is their specialty.
I purposely booked a hotel near a Chick-fil-A, so
You're gonna have to try that seafood pizza, I think.
see, I'm willing to try it. Sure, I like Frank Pepe's white clam pizza.
Yeah,
So I'm open to it.
It made his special, so you're gonna have to try it.
I forgot that was a Tom Myers thing.
Yes.
I thought we were having a real discussion about seafood pizza.
No.
I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try.
Killing.
That's exciting though. Me and Justin back on the road tomorrow. Me and Justin have talked about this multiple times, but I've spent undoubtedly more time in his vehicle than any other human being in my life.
Easily.
The amount of trips we've taken together.
Easily. Killing 4 days. Super chat. Mike can't be gay. There's already a gay blind Mike.
I mean, if the rumors are true about me, which it sounds like they are, I guess they're out of my control.
So I guess we can go back.
It would be tough branding.
Yeah, I guess we can go back to calling that other one blind Mike.
No, wait.
For this from Tyler, what is your best guess for Brendan Schaub's long-term career outlook? Rogan and Theo have distanced themselves. His podcast numbers are dropping continually. He canceled his entire Europe tour due to lack of sales. Did not know that. What will he be doing for the next 5 to 10 years? Keep trying stand-up, move to Austin to revitalize his career, try to move into more entertainment stuff when he actually had a job with Showtime. It's a train wreck that I can't stop staring at. Love all your content, especially the Why You're Laughing stuff. I'd love a full episode on Spaz from O&A.
That might be a tough full episode, but
Sure
we
would
could
be.
do something like that. I will say Brendan has come into at least a little bit of money in the last 24 hours. It may have been a confirmed purchase on the Thick Boy store.
Oh, God.
Someone could be decked out in the near future. Who knows?
Wow.
But it's interesting. So, I mean, first of all, Brendan's the greatest stand-up comedian that has ever lived. I think he's come a long way in his stand-up. You guys know that. If you know, you know, blah, blah, blah. So what do I think he would do with his career? Here's what's interesting is, first of all, as far as MMA commentary, he's burned the wrong bridge where, for whatever reason, he started fucking with Dana White. That doesn't seem smart if you want to work in the world of MMA.
The dumbest thing. No,
the dumbest thing.
Yeah. So it'd be like going into WWE and being like, Vince McMahon fucking sucks, and thinking you're gonna last.
I don't even know if those kids are his. That Vince McMahon. As far as comedy goes, I've said this for Brent, and this is what we're trying to do. This is the Schaub Mob's number one goal. It'll be even better when I'm wearing a hat and jersey and saying that.
Oh, you got the jersey, dude.
Well, there was a discount in the store.
That's very funny.
The Schaub Mob's number one goal is to get Brendan to understand, and I think Brendan would have been successful from the get-go if he applied the 3 Geary rules. I don't know why I said 3. I have no idea how many there are before I started talking. But what he should have done is, first of all, not tried playing theaters, not put his special on Showtime, all of that. Cat's out of the bag there where it's too late. The toothpaste is out of the tube, as it were. What he can do now is try and be better at being the dumb guy who has the capability of ripping your head from your body. If he understands that that's his character, if he accepts that he's a goofable character, but also intimidating, I think that could be a fun character for him to play, at least on podcasts, if not in stand-up. The writing, as far as stand-up goes, that might be tough to overcome.
You might have a better shot at that being a television show.
Of what being a television show?
Just like the dumb idiot comedian that.
Well, I'm not saying he has to become a character. I'm saying go on podcasts that will bust your balls and play along with it. Mm-hmm. Don't get offended. Don't get mad. Don't go after them on social media afterwards.
He's doing Skankfest, so we got to give him that.
Be part of the joke, yeah. And Louis J. Gomez had the greatest idea for him. If he dresses up as a human piñata and lets fans wearing Fighter and the Kid subreddit shirts try to attack him, that would be fantastic.
You could sell legitimately 40,000 more tickets.
By the way, I do feel bad. Did we answer all of Ted's questions? He's a supporter. It's the same questions over and over again. So I get it's no different. It's not about what he's asking. It's just like when people say like, "How do you read your phone?" It's like, yeah, I got it.
Some of those were asked, I think, coming up, but they weren't asked as jokes. They're like, "I'm not joking."
Okay, all right.
Justin again with a super chat.
Justin, stop giving me money.
Who wins a roast off, Myers or Schaub?
Wow. If I just shut the podcast down, if I thought for like 30 seconds and we went offline and I never broadcast again, I don't know.
It just ended the stream. I think Myers, he just literally stunned Schaub with things that come out of his mouth.
I think Tom would win because I think it would be more unique and there's more public data to go off of. I think Brendan would have a hard time finding as much about Tom as Tom could find out about Brendan.
Farfik Nugan, another super chat. Blind Mike, this is a genuine question because I don't know how it works. How do you research and navigate a computer? This is a genuine question, not a joke.
My phone and computer both read to me. So it was something I was resistant to when I was a kid that I should have been using my whole life. But like I'll just leave my headphones in and there's certain softwares, there's like TalkBack that everyone has on their phone that you can turn on or off as you please. And on my computer, I have something called Zoom Text Fusion, which I can enlarge the screen. And also it's Zoom Text mixed with a software called JAWS. And JAWS just reads everything on the screen to you.
People think you're actually not blind.
I don't get it. I don't get what the joke would be.
Like, you're pretty goddamn blind.
Yes.
Just so people know, I went to pick him up one time, and he was getting.
We don't need to humiliate me here, but
I'm just saying.
They get it.
You got it. I was the wrong part of the car. Simple. Hack Ride sending money now.
Stop! No, stop! People who contribute to this show, stop paying me.
He just said thumbnails in the drive.
Thanks, buddy. Good work. Hey, that'll be $15. Great job.
This is from Principled Uncertainty. If in some terrible version of our country reality, our current reality, sorry, it was normal to be set upon sexually in the middle of the night by someone you know, which podcaster would you be least traumatized by? Well, Karl.
A guy, because I'm gay. Is that what you mean?
Karl's the answer, right?
I don't even know how to answer that. If I was raped, who would I most want it to be?
Karl.
Why are you saying that?
I don't know. I'm trying to move. Yeah,
I'm
trying to move to the next one.
Chris D'Elia, so I could expose him. See, guys,
no.
he's still doing this.
Paul in Rhode Island, can you offer a review on
I want to
an
go back for a
up-and-coming
second. Did he ask the question? I'm not getting that wrong, right? If I was raped, who would I want it to be?
The phrasing is kind of weird. I thought I was fucking up reading, but I'm not.
All right, good. Sorry, go. What's the next one?
Can you offer a review of up-and-coming comedian David Cullinane? I hear he's a 9.5.
I say a 10 in my book, but
me too. This is from Sean. What do you think the likelihood is that Craig will join some kind of civilian army aimed at overthrowing the government and the next election is stolen?
Oh, I mean, here's the thing. 100% he'll be there, but he's going to be one of the guys where it's like, I was filming. What? Wait, I'm a journalist. He's going to be one of those. He doesn't have the guts to go with his true beliefs, but he's definitely going to go down there.
Oh, that was a Mike Harris route if I ever read one in my life. Chef Lewis now just being in a fucking militia trying to overthrow the government.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Chef Lewis now with the super chat, $2. I felt left out. Love you, Justin.
Chef Lewis, I think, is making his way down to Havre de Grace also.
He sure is.
All the boys will be hanging.
Nipples says, I want to punch Matt Rife because of his smug looks, but do I actually listen to his comedy specials, or can I get the gist by listening to you and Craig's reviews? You definitely can get the gist.
Yeah, I think you got the gist, buddy. Don't worry about it. Don't put yourself through. I like a guy where he's like, do I have to, like his homework? Do I have to watch the whole thing, Mike? No,
please. Josh Wheatley. I would like to know what you think know about comedy from the UK. I know it would be a move away from the usual history, but I'd be interested to hear you cover someone like Jerry Sadowitz, Stuart Lee, Dan Kitson, Simon Munnery on Why Are You Laughing? We do have good stuff, but rarely makes it to TV, let alone across the pond.
I don't know those names. It almost sounds like he's fucking with me. They sound like fake British names, but
yeah, I don't know. Some podcast can be listening to this, and be like, "Oh, we got him to say it."
I mean, yeah, those are the leaders of some white supremacy group.
Yeah.
Like Monty Python and shit will definitely do. You know, shit like that. But smaller guys, I'd have to know more about. If there's someone you want to pitch me, Vinny Paulino, I think, is going to do an episode with us next month about a guy named, God, I got to look up his name again. It's like Mike Rankle or something like that. He's a Christian comedian who was like a reformed Satanist, but they found out everything in his life story was all bullshit. And like he cheated on all of his wives, and he was like a real piece of shit, I guess. So Vinny Paulino reached out to me and was like, you got to look into this guy. And I got I read up on him a little bit, and I was like, I guess we got to do an episode about this guy now. So if anyone has people like that I may not have heard of, but you think they're an interesting character, like a Vince Champ type, we'll probably do a Vince Champ episode at some point. So someone like that, I'd definitely be open to.
McFuss Daddy says, I stand with box eating dad. The dabble versus gay. Don't you agree?
No, I think John's a really interesting character to follow. Like I said earlier, I think he gets too incestuous and everything. I think there's a little too much like piling on. Like there's 50 shows for a while where they just covered Stuttering John. That felt like a lot to me. But I think John's a very interesting character to cover. So, like, I'll talk about him when he comes up, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess if anything's gay, I would know, right, McFuss Daddy?
Have you always been blind? How do you see movies? You already answered this. Asking politely. You like literally just.
I believe you're asking politely, but yeah, I don't see well. That's the basic answer. I came up with kind of like it. The only analogy I could come up with, it's like if you could somehow like hole punch my sunglasses, so like there's spots you can see out of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then put like a layer of saran wrap over it or something to make it a little blurry. That's probably the best analogy for how I see. It's clearly not exact, but it's the best I got.
Let me reload this real quick. Principal Uncertainty, the one that asked about the rape, says my real question. So I guess that wasn't a real question. So can you foresee a time when comedy regains its status as a countercultural force of real value, which attracts some of the best and brightest? Or is it a dead art like poetry? I think it's currently doing that now.
I think it's like a comedy boom right now. People are playing arenas and shit. If you're, I guess what he means, it's weird. He's asking the question the reverse, I think, of how he means it. I think he more means like, will it ever again be kind of an underground cool thing, or like are people like Matt Rife going to continue getting bigger and bigger?
That's possible.
I think there's a bubble to that. I think eventually those people will move on to other things. I think comedy while I think it's an art form that should be appreciated, it's also one of the easiest to get into. You know what I mean? Like, really, you just have to go to open mics and you're in the comedy community at that point, and you have a kind of a class of people that you're coming up with. So it's much easier to get into than Broadway or television or film from that perspective, which is why I think it attracts a lot of people. But then you look at people like the guys I keep naming, Sam Morrill and all these guys that are like Normand and Gillis have Netflix deals now. I've heard rumors that Shane is going to be in a movie or something. I don't know if that's true.
Shit.
So these guys are starting to like create their own stuff and make their own living off of it. So I don't see any reason that'll slow down. If people are funny, like, you know, I thought the best special of 2022 was Ari Shaffir's Jew, and he was able to just put that out and get it to people to the point where now guys like Rogan and Sal Vulcano are going to put their specials on YouTube because they think it's the best way to just get it to the people.
That's where Rogan's putting it?
That's what I've heard.
Oh, shit.
Which that'll be crazy views, I would imagine.
Yeah, it would be insane. Jake, they'd be. I don't know why Spotify wouldn't be like, why don't you put it on Spotify?
I don't know how that'll work. Yeah, they own his podcast, and I think he wants more people to see it, so it'll be on YouTube. But
that's awesome. Jacob Mayo, Trailer Park Boys on Why Are You Laughing?
I don't know a lot about them. I know everyone. The people that watch it, I know love it.
It's a very funny show.
That's my problem. Is I feel like the people that recommend it to me are always guys like Craig, where I'm like, I don't know if I trust it.
I prefer Letterkenny over Trailer Park Boys. That's just me.
That's another one I've heard a lot about it, but I think I watched an episode and couldn't really get into it.
It takes a few episodes to kind of know everyone, and then it's funny.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense. Character development or whatever the fuck. I Come Buckets, another super chat. What do you call a Piper Perry wannabe?
What?
Blind Mike.
Come on.
I
was worried that's the angle you were going to take. How dare you? I let my guard down for a moment.
Nick West, super chat. Dimitri Martin has been touring, by the way. Potential Why Are You Laughing? I did not know that. I saw someone else comment.
Oh, I mean, I knew he wasn't dead, but he just...
No, I guess someone said earlier that he got sick for a while and wasn't doing anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Honestly, it might be out there. The story as to why he's not as big as he used to be, or why he's not as prevalent. I just don't know it. I'll have to look into it.
This is the last question. I love it too. Did you ever do a Garrison the Bartender Part 3? I'm in the back catalog on Part 2. You said you need to come back and cover an interview he'd done.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
That's from Sarah.
Shit,
Butler.
I don't know where I would find that now. Didn't you find that?
Yes, but I can't remember if it was on this computer or my one at home. I might have a bunch of videos ripped of him. I'll have to look.
Oh, yeah. Let me know. We'll see if that's worth doing. Boy, that's a deep cut, Garrison the Bartender. You hear him in the outro every episode, but most of you probably don't even know who that is. But yeah, he's a guy I worked with when I worked at Entercom on the street team. And he's one of the great, in my opinion, pathological liars of all time.
Oh yeah, those are some of my favorite things we've ever done.
That was fun. I didn't know if it would work because even you don't know who he is. Never mind the audience. So I didn't know if it would play, and it certainly did. I think.
Yeah, you said that, and I went, yeah, I understand. I watched like 4 seconds of a video on this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But I guess it's time for Jerry, or do you want to go to Twitter?
Oh fuck! I forgot we got the Seinfeld game.
Yeah, we just go to Seinfeld game. Fuck Twitter. Pay.
Yeah. Were there any great ones on Twitter?
Let me look real quick.
I didn't see much.
When you feel...
You know what? Let's play the Seinfeld game and peruse. If you see any good ones while we're playing this, we can.
Do you think birds are real? Do you think birds are real?
Birds are real?
Question. Yeah.
Is that a conspiracy theory?
Yeah, that they're all government listening devices.
Oh well, some are. That's like a fact.
Thank you.
Right? Didn't they discover that?
I think They might have.
I might just sound like Roseanne now, but I thought that was true. I thought that was found out that was true, but no, I think some of them are real.
All right, so here's the last question that we really haven't touched. Just to get to it real quick, do you think the guy who asked you what you had for dinner on the KMS show is planning on killing you? Because I do.
Oh, that's what I was fishing at the start of the show. I meant to start with something, and it was this. I apologize. I know Menners certainly didn't make it to this part of the episode, but get it back to him. I apologize to Menners and the boys because Montante was very funny. I don't know if you saw Mike and the Minifans the other night, the return of Mike and the Minifans.
Mm-hmm. Went head to head.
Oh yeah, that's right. They mentioned at some point they brought up that kid Mick. Remember Beyond Average Mick?
Yeah, I do.
So they mentioned him, and they're talking about his return and his disappearance and his Vegas podcast. And it was funny because I didn't really give a fuck about it, and I started to think of the next subject I was going to bring up. And at that moment, it was uncanny. It was like we were twins or something, and he had that sixth sense about me. Your boy Montante goes, "Well, I can tell Mike is checked out of this." It was bizarre how immediately he noticed that I had drifted somewhere else. Now I apologize to everyone. What's that?
So why would anyone care about Mick's whereabouts?
Well, I'll tell you why. This is why I'm apologizing to the boys. I would have cared had I seen that episode. He put up some episode on the Kirkman Hand Show Network. Mm-hmm. It's bizarre. I don't think Kirk's going to give enough of a fuck to talk about it because it's just kind of the same old shit that he's done before, I think. Mick, that is. But it's weird. It's like a half Kirk impression, half devolving into psychosis. It was an odd.
Oh, I saw clips of this on Twitter. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it was straight. It was straight. So I apologize to the boy. Had I seen that, and it's not my fault, it got taken down. But I should have pressed more and asked about it because had I seen that episode, I would have been more into that conversation.
Do you remember when he wanted to work with us on this program?
Yeah, he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, look, this is before we had any clips." And he's like, "Hey, you need a clip." Or you know what? It was when Matt from Rhode Island was doing it.
Yeah, because I did really shitty ones. Then Matt did nice ones.
Well, he's like, "Hey, I could improve your clips," and I was like, "Go for it. Give it a shot." And then and he just didn't do it.
It's worse than that. Worse than that. You connected him with me, so I started talking to him, and I go, "All right, here's I sent him all the logos we had in case you wanted to use them." And then I sent him the episode, and I go, "Yeah, here's the episode for next week. Just clip whatever you like." I like to see, instead of suggesting, be like, "What did they pick up on at first?" He goes, "Okay." 3 days later, he goes, "Hey man, I lost power. I wasn't able to get it to you." And I go, "You couldn't message me when it happened?"
Right.
And then we gave him one more chance, and then it was 3 fucking days again. And I went, "Yeah, we're not doing this."
Yeah. I didn't even have that experience. I never heard from him again after I was like, "Yeah, sure, go for it."
I think there was one episode I went, "We're done with him." And you went, "Okay." Something like that.
Yeah. So
super chat from Nick West. Mike's gay. LOL.
Whoa. Now these aren't even creative. These are just blunt. That's just straight homophobia, sir.
That's what.
Not that I am.
Yeah, Hackride is literally the complete opposite of Mick. Everything I need.
Yeah. All right, so we've given you guys over 2 hours here. It's a vacation show. This is what we do. This is vacation, baby. I could have taken the week off. I said, no, the people need content. Let's do a mailbag episode. We gave you the Stuttering John stuff at first. So I don't want to hear any bitching now because I'm giving you fair warning. This is the Seinfeld game. All right? You can leave if you like. But to those of you who enjoy Hackride's work, stick around because Jerry Seinfeld has returned, apparently.
Welcome to the Jerry Seinfeld game with me, your host, Jerry Seinfeld.
Hey,
Today's game is a little bit different than normal because we have brought in some top-of-the-line comedians to help us play our game. Let us first introduce, they call him the Mud Shark, which actually means, well, never mind that. Just know it is very, very naughty. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chad Zumock.
Thank you so much, Jerry. It is actually a huge, huge honor to meet you.
I'm sure it is, Chad. And our other comedian needs no introduction. Just kidding. No one knows who this loser is. Mr. Tom Myers.
Thank you. Thank you. I am Tom Myers. Make sure to see me in Habit of Grace this
Okay,
Thursday.
shut up, Tom. Neither one of you know why you are here or what game you are playing. So here it is. You two will be doing classic bits from famous comedians, and Blind Mike and Craig will choose which one does it better in our new game, Who Offends Better? Up first, Tom Myers. Okay, your famous comedian is one Mr. Eddie Murphy. Okay, Tom, you will be doing a famous bit from Eddie Murphy's Delirious, performed in 1983 for HBO.
Oh boy,
and your
this is
script
going to be
in the
revisited.
prompter. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Guys, Colin, are you serious?
Read the prompter.
I cannot say that word.
Read the prompter, Tom.
Listen, guys, I'm as edgy as they come, real Lenny Bruce, but I can't say that word.
Didn't you read the contact, you bald little cockroach prick? Now read that f***ing prompter before I grab you by your cheeks and split you in two, you f***wit retard.
I have
Jerry,
Jesus. That I go to Hollywood and find out that Mr. T is a faggot. And he'd be walking up to people going, hey, boy, you look mighty cute in them jeans. Come on over here and f*** me up the ass. Hey, boy, slow down. You're going to mess around and too fast. You make me get mad. I clench up my butt cheeks and rip your dick off. You know who would be a funny Ralph Cramden and Ed Norton.
Tom Myers, everyone. Okay.
Context really is everything.
Chad Zumock. Chad, your famous comedian today is a little bad boy comedian named Andrew Dice Clay. And you will be doing one of his pieces from his 1987 comedy special, One Night with Dice. And in the prompter in 3, 2, 1.
I don't want to say this.
Chad, read the prompter.
Correction, I am not going to say this.
Listen, you middling Ohio loser. If I have to tell you one more time to read the prompter, I'm going to rip out your spinal cord and hang it on my wall like a Predator trophy. Do you understand? I'm Jerry fucking Seinfeld.
So violent.
Read the prompter.
Well, I guess if you put it that way. I don't see too many faggots in Philly, but out in LA and Manhattan, you have them all over the place. Brooklyn, we don't have any gay people. They are all dead. All we got is a big sign that says, welcome to Brooklyn, 4th largest city in America, with this dead faggot hanging off the pole. They are not from this planet. Let's face it. They are from Faggotron. Come on.
Wow, Chad. I don't know what came over you there. That was highly, highly offensive. And something that the Blind Mike Project does not in any way approve of. Shame on you, Chad.
That was my lifestyle.
Shame on you and all that will carry the name of Zumock after you. Although since you're 50 and brutally unfixable, this shame will probably just die with you. Okay, now it's time to play the game. Remember, the game isn't, is this funny? The game isn't, is this offensive? The question, I ask you, Blind Mike and Craig, and feel free to discuss, of these two performances, who offends better?
Oh, by the way, I appreciate Jerry allowing us to discuss. That's very sweet of him.
Yeah, just kind of like almost commanding that we do pause and discuss.
Boy, I mean, there's really a lot to be said about delivery. You learn a lot hearing Tom Myers do that bit and Eddie Murphy, the difference in stage presence and delivery.
Comfortability.
I'll say now, neither of these men wrote these words, to be fair. And by the way, I'd hate to hear, based on the language, I'd hate to hear these two discuss Karl, if you know what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think Tom Myers, the Eddie Murphy / Tom Myers bit ages better, in my opinion. That's got my vote.
Well, because it's not talking about but it's who is the offends better. So I'm gonna have to probably go with Chad. But my real answer, and I don't think he's gonna like this, is Jerry offends better. He is really rude.
Jerry's very offensive. Jerry's mean. He's scary.
I think Jerry Seinfeld might be my answer.
Yeah, but I'll stick to the rules.
That's
and I'll
right.
go with Tom Myers.
I'll go with Chad. And I didn't realize this apparent drunk, slow-looking guy has a VGS patch on his shirt. That's pretty funny.
Folks, it's about the little Easter eggs.
Those are my favorite.
Okay, guys, thanks for your answers. Don't you two hacks take another fucking step.
See?
Here's my final thought. On this 4th of July coming up, let's all remember that while, yes, we do have our differences, the thing that ultimately brings us together are tied up in things mostly out of our control. Laughter, tears, joy, pain. And the one I care most about is laughter. As long as you can mock and
Very
ridicule.
special episode of the Seinfeld game.
Let George Carlin be our guide on this
My
4th of
heart
July.
feels full.
Quote, comedy is a socially acceptable form of hostility and aggression. That is what comics do. Stand the world upside down. Thank you for joining us on the Jerry Seinfeld game, and have a happy 4th of July.
I don't know.
Well, it is officially over for me, Chad Zumock. You can't just run around saying faggot like some sort of faggot. Words have consequences. Thanks for picking me, Jerry. Woo! Yeah! On the hype train.
An odd ending to that bit.
And I will say this for Hack Ride. Hack Ride had a different video in mind, but ran out of time. So this was the last second change, if I recall right. But we got super chats to go through here. Farfanugan, $10. Blind Mike, question. Is there a hierarchy of blind people? Like you can at least see shapes, so you have to make fun of people who are completely blind? This question is a joke.
Oh, interesting. No, that's an interesting question, though. See, that's not one I get all the time. Because at the program I was in for the blind, I would say I and some of the other more sighted people, we were kind of the, we were the cool kids, baby.
We're the cool guys.
We could knock it was very easy to knock the books out of the totals' hands,
Totals. Super Raiders, $20. Have a drink on me down in Maryland, fellas.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the super chats coming in today. I think you guys are very, and the Patreon subscribers, you guys are very kind. Appreciate everyone that supports the show for free as well. All the support we do appreciate here.
Hack Ride is death. Unpleasant, but necessary.
See, that's the way to look at it. Some people hate Hack Ride and they're like, well, why? Like, I think when his segments are bad, they're fun to make fun of, and I think it's fun to make fun of him. I think he's an interesting character, and I think he does good work as well. So I like having Hack Ride around. And my answer to the people that don't like him is we save it for the end of the show, so buzz off.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't like. This is what I'm asking Hack Ride. What in your mind? What is that bit? What is the end of that bit? Maybe you're right. Maybe he just didn't have an ending, and he was like, "We'll wrap this up real quick."
Yeah, I know he's got.
We need Schaub as Batman. We need There's another one I mentioned to him. Fuck, what was it?
Hack Ride skits are car crashes. You can't look away even if you want to.
That's the thing is I'm fascinated. If I hated them, I wouldn't play them. You know what I mean? Like there's something about them that makes me play them even when I don't love them.
The funniest thing is this guy is walking down the beach in California and that idea pops in his head.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's it right there.
Whew, all right. We really we did a lot today. And we'll be off because we're recording this on Wednesday. You won't get a Blind Mike Project episode for a week and a half. There's no Why You Laughing this week, but it is available on Patreon. The firing of Anthony Cumia is up on Patreon now, as well as the bonus episode, Anthony Cumia versus Joe DeRosa. I think both came out very well. I'll be curious to see the feedback because especially now, given my new lifestyle, I'm sure people will call me a liberal cuck after this one. but I'll be curious to see what you guys think of my take on Anthony and everything. And like I said, if the Patreons too rich for your blood, it's a tough economy, or if it's just not worth it to you, support the show for free if you'd be so kind. Subscribe on YouTube, give us 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify, retweet the show, all that stuff. It helps the algorithm. It helps grow the show. So we do appreciate it. And go listen to A Very Good Show, for God's sake. They're trying to take me down every time I broadcast. So do they. But
yeah, we were sniping Mike and the Minifans. That's what we were.
Go listen to A Very Good Show. If you guys thought John went a little too easy on Karl, you'll like Very Good Show.
Yeah, I guess.
If you think a limp-wristed lisp is good humor, I mean, Very Good Show has your answer, folks.
Yes. New episode came out Monday. We're doing something. I honestly don't know what we're doing tonight.
I would shit on you for that, but I have the same reaction when Kirk's like, "Hey, what's going on in the Blind Mike project?" I'm like, "Oh God, I can't remember."
I think that's the best part about why you're laughing. It's a definite answer.
Yes, that has been a nice but even that I'm like, do we do Pat Cooper already? I don't know.
I'm lost. We had an episode that just came out. We were talking about how Matt could have got laid if he was on the Titanic as he was sinking. That was a fun little bit that we did. Yeah, so go try that out. And
very good show.
That's right.
Same deal. Always check out the show for free, and if you like it enough, support the old page. All right, we don't have our regular outro today, right?
I don't know completely what this one even is, so this could be fun.
So I'm going to sing for you. No, I'm kidding. That was another Hack Ride idea, by the way. You guys, I put a governor on Hack Ride. You guys don't understand.
Yes.
He messages me and goes, what I do love is the intros.
They're the best.
I think he does a great job with those, and I think he's found his groove. And then he goes, you know what I'm feeling? What if every character sang an original theme song for the show? And I thought, let's keep it as is. How about we don't try and, top perfect? It's perfect right now.
It is perfect. Good guitar riff, funny characters.
Yeah. Oh, and go follow Hack Ride, for God's sake. I think it's A Hack Ride on Twitter.
A Hack Ride on Twitter.
And I think Instagram and YouTube, it might just be Hack Ride.
Yeah.
There aren't that many Hack Rides. You'll find him.
Yeah, he'll pop up.
Yeah. So go find. Oh, and I don't know if he did it this week.
Mm-hmm.
I should have thought about this, but I know last week he was like live tweeting the show. This week it might have been hard because we were doing a mailbag, but he'll tweet out like what segments we're talking about and shit. So if when we're live, you're like, I don't really care for the Alec Baldwin stuff or whatever, follow Hack Ride and you'll know what we're talking about when. So
yeah.
All right. That's it. See you guys. Have happy 4th of July, everybody. God bless America.
Sappers clear the way. Everyone all the way.
If I tell you